Father, my God, to say thank you, Father. Father, for letting us all meet together one more Tuesday night, Father. Father, make sure in the name of Jesus, Father, to look down on this meeting tonight, Father. Father, my God, let it be a good meeting tonight, Father. Father, because we know all things are in your hand, Father. Father, I want to thank you for sitting up high, looking down low. Bless each and every one. And this is not a competition tonight. Amen, amen. We believe everything's going to be done right. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Rabb.
Present.
Vice Mayor Murphy.
Present.
Commissioner Bowden.
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Present.
Commissioner Perez. City Manager.
Present.
City Attorney. Here. City Clerk. Present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff, and most importantly, thank our listening audience and those that are present here for being here to participate.
Yes. There's no volume to turn it up on the phone. If you could speak into the mic so he can hear you.
And again, thank everyone for being here tonight to participate in our regular scheduled commission meeting of Tuesday, February the 28th. Now we'll move right down our agenda. The first item on there is the additions. If any emergency items have been added, we'd like to point that out and the approval afterwards. City Manager, at this time, are there in addition to the regular agenda that was presented tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. City Commission, having heard that there is no addition and we have received our agenda, what is your pleasure?
Mayor Brad, I move that we would accept the agenda with no add-ons tonight.
I second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Bowden that we'll accept our agenda for tonight. Call for questions. Hearing none.
They're voting on the agenda. It's been motioned by Vice Mayor Mervin, second by Bowden, to approve the agenda as is.
Is this why can I rescind my vote from the 2023-04 from yes to a no?
You want to add on to the agenda?
Yeah, because I want to rescind my my vote.
The answer would be no.
Per the city attorney, the answer is no.
But Mayor, can I rescind my vote? I can rescind my vote. I have that right?
Through the mayor. Through the mayor. Commissioner, you would be able to rescind your vote if it were brought up for and voted and second for reconsideration of the item. That would be how you would do it. However, it is going to come on the agenda tonight for a second reading, so you'll have another opportunity if you'd like to vote no. But in terms of the how you voted, that vote stands for that meeting, and that's what the minutes reflect.
Well, I'm still going to stand my grounds and say I want to rescind my vote from a yes to a no, just to be on the record.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
What's the motion, Mayor?
The motion is for the approval of the agenda.
as is.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by majority, 3-1 vote. Next on the agenda is public comments, public service announcement, presentation, proclamation, if any. At this time, I'm just do a brief housekeeping. We're going to ask the audience, we got a large group in here tonight. We're going to ask you to please, if you speak, and please lower your voice so you're not heard and it don't project up here. we're gonna ask that when you do make your comments, that is an opportunity to make any influence on this commission. You can say yay, nay about anything that's on this agenda, even outside of the agenda. But once you have your 3 minutes, then you shouldn't be talking during deliberation of the commission. We just ask your courtesy and your cooperation with that. We're gonna give you a warning, and if that don't stop you from talking and being interrupted, then we're gonna ask that you leave.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking.
That's what you talking to. Call anybody else, and they're gonna do that. You talking to me?
And secondly, since we do have a long agenda, I know sometimes we have folks yield their time. We're not going to be doing that. I will, as a courtesy, if someone have requested that, to give that speaker 1 minute additional to their own time.
Dictators.
At this time, City Clerk, do we have any comment card completed?
Yes, sir, Mr. Carl Morrison.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Carl Morrison, Senior, Southwest 14th Terrace, Pahokee, Florida. This evening, I'm here to address the elephant in the room. Everything rises and falls on leadership, and in this case, the lack of leadership thereof. In the past 2 meetings, Mr. Mayor, you have lost your position in leadership and control of the meetings. The citizens of this community and outside this community have voiced their concerns in this matter to the point that you want to give your authority as chair of the meeting to everyone else on the diocese. It is your responsibility as chair of the meeting to oversee and conduct the process of the meeting. If you're not up to it, pass the gavel to the vice mayor where she can conduct and oversee the meetings. The last 2 meetings, it seems as though Mr. Love have been in your head where you cannot even follow where you were on the agenda item several times. Several weeks ago, I spoke with a couple of citizens stating that we need stability in this community and leadership. And we had a lobbyist, Mr. Thomas, from outside of this community making the same statements in the previous meeting. He used the term consistently, which is interchangeable with stability. It makes a difference when investors, companies, and legislators see the same faces. People like dealing with people who they have become familiar with. That does not mean you're going to always agree, and you shouldn't. It's okay to agree to disagree. But when you disagree, conduct yourself business-wise. I do not have to tell anyone in this meeting that people in this community, county, state, and country is looking at these meetings. And how can we ask someone to come in and invest and to assist us with funds when they see how we're conducting ourselves in these meetings? With that being said, I would suggest that live streaming for 3 months be suspended until we can get our act together. If not, we're committing suicide in how we're conducting ourselves in these meetings. Ms. Perez, I continue to keep you in my prayers, and I'm sure you're correct when you make the statement that citizens put you in that position or that seat to hold people accountable. I do not question that, but at the same time, I'm sure they did not put you in that seat for you to display your loud outbursts over speaking people when they're speaking. And one statement you made in reference to the mayor's brother, I have seen him put his brother out of these meetings. And also, dealing with the sheriff department. If I'm not mistaken, we pay them $583,466 per year to serve and protect. And in these chambers, they're not doing their job, and that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. In addition, comments, cards complete.
Yes, Ms. Tamara Mosley. Also, Mayor Bab, she has 3 people that wanted to yield their time
Only
to.
need one, probably.
Okay.
This needs to be said. It needs to be said. My name is and help me get through this. My name is Tamara Mosley, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my mother, Joanne Culberson, and my uncle, Billy McKinstry. My 102-year-old grandmother, Isabel McKinstry, passed away on February 4th, 2003, and was laid to rest on February 8th at Fort Myakka Cemetery. She came here from Hawaii when she was in her 20s as what you would call a war bride. She lived in Pahokee for 80 years. I want to make this very clear. Her last name was McKinstry, but she only has 2 kids. That's Billy McKinstry and Joanne Culberson, period. The day of her funeral, the city had other city employees there to prepare the grave. Little did we know that later that night, my mother would find a video on Facebook of one of the city employees down in her grave. It was taken the morning of the funeral. The words in the video talked about a person that had been through hell and back, God's chosen people, and how those are the people that you don't want to mess with. It was disgusting and disgraceful. It has become a violation of privacy when that employee was asked on Facebook, "Whose grave are you digging?" And he posted back, "A 102-year-old white lady from Pahokee," which then led to another post of my grandmother's obituary from someone else. Then the conversation grew from there. Someone asked if he was now a grave digger, and he replied back, "Not really. We're short of staff, and somebody's got to do it. So it might as well be me." That's what playmakers do. They make plays, parentheses, City of Pahokee. The whole post was removed when the city manager was notified while traveling with Vice Mayor Mervin and Commissioner Bolden. We were mortified by his actions, and the city and everybody should be also. We tried to keep it professional by not broadcasting it in public. We had multiple meetings with the city manager, the deputy to the city manager, the HR person, the employee, and his supervisor. I also asked Deputy Jemison to accompany us as well because she is fair and just. And by the way, where is Jemison? Where did she go? She was a great asset and is greatly missed in this community. We asked that the city terminate the employee immediately, but the city only gave him 2 weeks off without pay. And termination of employment would only happen if he posted to social media again while on the job. But when we met with the city manager, the words he said to us was he had been warned multiple times already for posting stuff on Facebook with the city stuff. Was this video post not grounds enough for termination? One of his most recent Facebook posts stated that this has been the best 2 weeks off I've had in my whole 5 years working for the city. That's not anyone who's worried about losing their job. And by the way, the employee was seen by 2 different people at city property in city uniform on city's equipment on what would have been his last day of suspension. So what is accountability? Where's accountability? Every single person sitting up here tonight knew what happened, and Mayor Babb, Vice Mayor Mervin, and Commissioner Bolden never made an attempt to give their condolences or just to say, "I'm sorry" for the employee's actions. These are elected officials. The only 2 that reached out to me were Sarah Perez and Johnny Gonzalez, and I thank y'all for that. Commissioner Bolden, I want you to know that your cousin, and I won't say her name, is a nurse. And she took care of my grandmother for 28 days. And you know what she called her? She called her Granny. Because she's a good person, and she has a heart. It has been nearly a month, and we still have not been able to lay her to rest properly, nor mourn her death. We have had to fight with the city of Pahokee. It is time that the city starts operating like a municipality and stops all this foolishness. I feel the actions of this city and its employee have made a mockery of my grandmother's death. So I ask, when the citizens go to vote the next election, think about us, put yourself in our shoes, and if it was your loved one, how would you feel? And please vote accordingly. And I hope and pray that this never happens to anybody else. And I want to ask you, Mervyn, I want to ask you, Walden, I want to ask you, Babs, if this was your mother and some city employee did that to you, how would you feel? How would you feel? Because if I was an elected official that got elected by all these citizens out here, I would darn sure, because my mother is a citizen of this town and my grandmother was for 80 years. I believe if I was an elected official, I would be up there calling somebody and saying, especially as the mayor and vice mayor, I'd be saying, listen, I am so sorry. Because if you would have just done that, it maybe would have made a big difference in how this outcome will come out. Thank you.
Mayor Bab, can we address that?
Yeah, you can address it. Yes, I'll make a comment.
Well, first of all, I'm going to address that on my behalf. On number one, Tammy was wrong on have not said condolences, because if she me her go back and forth on Facebook, and I sent my condolences to her on Facebook. Number two,
Allow her to speak, ma'am.
Number two, the commission don't deal with human resource issues. And number three, when I got the news of that, I know I'm trying to pull up, I can pull up the pictures, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Lucas. The grave that you say was being dug, and the Facebook post, I read the Facebook post. The Facebook post, it did say of a white woman, a 102-year-old white woman. But the employee never put a name, let me finish, never put a name to the actual grave. It was just dirt. It's just dirt out there. It was just dirt. And two, it was not the same day of the funeral. The grave was not dug. Your mother, if I'm not mistaken, was buried on Wednesday. The grave was done Monday and Tuesday. Joanne Culverson is the one that put the name to the Facebook post.
No, she's not.
Joanne Culverson put the name to the Facebook post. She posted the
switchboard operator at the hospital.
Can I please finish? She.
Let her finish line, please.
Mayor Bab, can you please take control of the commission meeting, please? The post had Joanne Culverson's name at the top of the post from the funeral home, and she's the one said, "This is not Sam McKinsky's mother. This is my mother." She put the name to the funeral She put the name to it. I have it too, if I can pull it up here, because I knew it was going to come up tonight. She put the name to it. Only thing if someone said, no one would have known whose name that was in a grave if she didn't put the name to it. No one would have known. No one would have known. And just now to say, you know how many people get buried in the city of Pahokee that goes out there? No one, you cannot say, okay, let's fire the city employee who is Terry Butler, who they want to fire. You cannot say want to fire the city employee because he posed a picture of the grave, of the dirt grave. Didn't have no name on the grave.
She's lying.
You had your chance.
Ma'am.
That's a lie.
Mervyn.
Go ahead, Mayor Val.
City Clerk, are there any additional comments, cards?
Mr. Ted Bernanke. Mr. Ted.
Ted Brannicky, 190 North Lake Avenue, Pahokee Marina, part-time resident. Mayor Babb, Vice Mayor Mervyn, Commissioner Perez, Commissioner Bolden, Commissioner Gonzalez, good evening. I'm a part-time resident of Pahokee, a tax-paying Florida resident and active duty military. I purchased a boat here in Pahokee in 2020 and decided to keep it here because of the marina rates. The marina was far from perfect, but there were a fair amount of boaters here to keep the marina safe and let me know if something was wrong when I was away. The biggest attraction to stay was the marina rates. In December 2021, an article from South Central Florida Life. Here are a few excerpts from that article. Pahokee City Council votes 4-1 to raise marina campground rates. Campground fees change from $250 a month to $400 a month. Under the new rate schedule, boats will be charged $12 a foot for a 1-year lease. That's 4 times the price of the campground. Greg Thompson said, "The gravy train is off the rails if you vote on this tonight." He said, while people who have been paying lower rates are going to be upset, there are plenty of new people who will come in. The mayor asked why the campground is not full at the current rates. The problem has been lack of marketing, said Thompson. So many people drive through Pahokee and never know the marina exists. Well, since the rate increase, 50% of the boaters left the marina and 0 have returned. It's been 15 months. The proposed rate increase has had a negative result for the marina and the city. The marina is only 8% of its capacity. I waited for a year to voice my concerns in anticipation of positive changes promised. Instead, the marina has gone into further decline. No Wi-Fi, no security. Birds have taken over the marina and covered it in droppings, and vandalism has increased. The marina needs more boaters to keep the docks free of birds, providing built-in security and revenue to the city. As a boater visiting Pahokee, my wife and I spend $30 a week on wash and fold services, $15 a visit at the Quick Stop, $150 a week at the Save-A-Lot, $700 in routine maintenance for my vehicle, $30 a week in gas. We spend hundreds of dollars on at the hardware and parts stores for our boat. An average boater staying in Pahokee could easily spend $10,000 in 6 months. If the city lowered the rates to the original rate of $250 a slip till the marina is full, then they increase the rates as the marina improves to equal the campground rates. 50% capacity at the marina would be $250 a slip. That would equal $198,000 of revenue to the marina, and a conservative estimate of $600,000 per year in revenue to the city's businesses. I'm asking for the town commission to vote to lower the marina rates for the benefit of the city, the marina, and the voters. Thank you.
Sir, I have personally asked for them to lower the rates now.
Say again?
I have personally asked them to lower the rates now,
Okay.
and they haven't been done yet.
Okay, thank you for your consideration on that.
And I'd like to also make this comment. If you look at the record of that vote of raising the rates, I believe that you was one in the majority that voted for.
That's right, and so did Tasha Mervin, and so did Sarah Perez at the moment. You're the only one that said no, if I'm correct.
Thank you.
So you want a pat on the back?
Yes, I do. I appreciate that. Are there any additional comments, cards?
Yes, sir. Ms. Annie Ifield?
Good evening, Commission. Annie Eiffel, Help Your Glaze. I just wanted to share with the community some information about some upcoming campaigns in regards to Let's Move that starts tomorrow. This is a month-long campaign with Palm Health Foundation to try to promote physical fitness throughout Palm Beach County. You probably have seen the advertisement on the local news. Help Your Glaze is supporting that effort by partnering with the city of Pahokee to host a Let's Move dance party. It's going to be 4 Zumba sessions that we'll be offering here starting on March 8th at 6 p.m. at the senior room here at Parks and Rec. Also, if you are an active walker or doing any type of physical activity, there's an opportunity for you to participate in the month-long campaign. They're going to have the celebration at Cox Park at the end of the month. To celebrate the number of miles that were accumulated for the month to promote physical fitness. So I did bring some flyers that I will share with the commission so that you'll know what's going on. Also, just wanted to thank this commission for allowing us to use your senior center we're doing a 3-part series on healthy homes. On February 21st, we did one addressing issues around insects and rodents and ways to keep our homes clean and healthy. And so we're going to be doing our next session on April 18th on addressing issues around the effective use of cleaning products, and as we kick off Asthma Awareness Month. And then on June 20th, we will be doing another series in regards to Love is in the Air, talking about ways to keep the inside of your home clean from tobacco use and stuff like that. So I will make sure that the city clerk get the flyers and make sure that you get this information. Thank you. It's two sheets, so just take two. Okay. And that's all I have. Thank you, Commission.
Next comment.
Commissioner John Wilson.
Good evening. I'd just like to thank the mayor, vice mayor, commissioners, attorney, city clerk, and all the residents of Pahokee. I'm here tonight to bring y'all some good news. I've heard talk about the reason why the buildings is not being built where the old hospital was torn down. It was because of the road. That's not true.
Thank you.
In order to start any business, the money has to be there first. I'm here to tell you tonight the money is there. I'm in the process, I will be the superintendent for your project. And one thing that I plan to do, to inform any contractor that's working on that project to hire locally. I've never appreciated companies coming from everywhere else. When we're building, they build, get the money, go back home, and none of our people get a chance to work. So if you have young men or women's, I'm gonna have a job fair. I want them to have their resumes, and I want them to come to the job looking like they want to go to work. I will not hire anybody that comes to my job with their pants hanging below the behind. That's a no-no. Okay? Now, I'd like to thank the commissioners. Y'all have worked hard for this project. Everything we have asked y'all to do over the years, you have done that. We will be having groundbreaking on March the 31st. I'm in the process now of installing cameras out there. I'm getting ready to put a fence around it and have my office put out there. And every month, I will be here to keep y'all updated as to what's going on that project. I'm just finishing up a project in Belgrade for House and Now. I built 13 buildings out there, 7 triplexes, 6 duplexes. And that project is about over. And I had planned to retire when it's over. Yes. But the guys that's on, the developers called me, flew down from Missouri, and I decided that I'll take on this project. But I want y'all to know, this project here, I've built a lot of houses in Pahokee and Belgrade, apartments in Belgrade, South Bay, everywhere. I've never seen a project as beautiful as this one. You're gonna have elevators, 2 and 3 story buildings. So if you're not able to go upstairs, the elevator will take you up there. It's gonna have a daycare center in the middle of it. This is gonna be beautiful. And I'm so excited to get started on it. The other news is, a lot of times you think things ain't going or doing anything. I came to Pahokee probably I don't know how many months ago and bought in the hotel people. They are excited to build your hotel, which will be located right now, I think where the public works at.
Yeah, the old.
overlooking the lake. That project is still in progress. Like I said, it takes some time getting the funding together, but y'all will have the first hotel in the Glades.
That's the first time I hear about it.
Yes.
First time I hear about it. I'm a commissioner in this city.
We done said that several times over the last year.
So that property's not going out for bid?
And we don't know nothing about it.
That property's not going out for bid?
So I would like to say to each and every one of you, my phone number is 561 983 5781. I'm gonna leave these prints, and somewhere the mayor and I met this morning. These prints will be put on a table, so you guys can review them, look at them, or whatever you want to do. Thank you, and may God bless you, and may God bless Pahokee.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner.
Wilson. Appreciate
Mr.
you,
Lucas,
appreciate it.
can you please tell us about the hotel that's coming to Pahokee?
The process about that property?
How did that happen? And because that's municipality, so how did that happen?
So there was a meeting with the developer, and they had discussion of what they thought they could do on the property. That's all came forward.
So the
And they're
property's not
ready
going out
to
for bid?
build, and nobody else knows about it, we don't have no input,
It's-
there's no bid, there's no nothing.
It's going
They
out for
came-
bid. This project has been discussed over a year ago. I've been talking about this project several times up here.
But
Several
as far as
times.
I know, you don't have the right just to come and bring somebody and see the
So
property
So you're
and
disappointed
bring
with getting
the
a
price.
hotel?
No, it's supposed to go out for
No,
bid.
I'm
Do it the
disappointed
right way.
that it was acquired, it was a hush-hush. Why were we not?
We discussed that here. Even the city attorney noted that we had to put that out on RFP. We had to
Did
put
you
proposals
put it on
out.
RFP?
That's administrative work. I don't do that.
Was it an RFP? Because I didn't know about no RFP. It wasn't announced here that there was an RFP for a hotel.
We got a commissioner who's disappointed that a hotel is coming to
You
Pahokee.
could put
Don't
it,
put words in
you
her mouth.
could
Don't
put
put words
it
in her mouth.
any
Don't
way
twist
you
it.
want
Don't
to
twist it.
because,
Don't twist it.
look, I'm tired of you guys putting word in my
Yeah,
mouth.
quit twisting things.
Okay? I'm not disappointed that it's a committee. I'm disappointed at the way that it went about. You want transparency. I keep asking for transparency, okay? And I'm sorry if you think I scream over here, okay? I have to scream. You know why I have to scream? Because every time I try to talk, they try to butt in. Because I call out the lies. Because they are lies. Because when you sit up here and you know that you're lying, you know the truth and you're not telling it, you're lying. And that's why I get like this. It might offend some people when I call out the truth. But you know what? I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep calling the truth. I'll try to speak a little softer, which is not me. I'm not a politician. I'm not a politician. I'm here because I love the city, because I'm doing it out of my heart. I don't have an agenda. And you know that. You know that because we have talked and I have more than proved it. Okay? I'm sorry if I offended people here, but
Are you making a
I
political
cannot
speech,
take
Miss?
it. I'm making the talk just like everybody
She's
else
going
talks.
on. I need to control the meeting so we can go
You
on.
need to control the meeting. When I speak, you need to
Mr.
control
Love,
the
you out of
meeting.
order, sir.
I'm so sick of y'all.
You out of order, sir.
Did it go out for RFP, Mr.
Mr.
Lucas?
Lucas.
So, projects can come in as confidential. I've spoken to,
Ma'am, y'all out of order talking in the audience. It doesn't matter. You need to step out the door if you're talking.
Just sign up, Al. Just sign up, you know.
What
Saying that we
sign?
can't whisper. Saying that we can whisper. We don't have
I'm gonna wait till I speak.
Mr. Love, you got one more warning, and I'm going to ask that you be removed from this chamber. Mr. Lucas.
so, meetings weren't made public because they asked for a private meeting.
there's times when I've spoken to each and every one of you about certain projects. I don't tell the others.
Did it go out for RFP? It's supposed
No,
to go
it
out
has-
for RFP. It doesn't matter how many meetings you have and how private they want to be. It has to go out for RFP. And
You're right.
ITB needs to
You're
go out.
correct, ma'am.
Okay. Did it go out for ITB?
Not yet.
Okay, so I hope nobody puts a stick in that property until somebody wins a bid.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any additional comments, cards, City Clerk?
Miss Lavita Holmes?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Lavita Holmes, 901 Florida Avenue, Clewiston, Florida. I just appreciate this brief moment to introduce myself and the organization I represent. I'm Lavita Holmes, new Executive Director with Glades Lives Matter. I bring you greetings tonight on behalf of our founder and President Janet Taylor. Some of you may know her. She's worked fiercely in the Glades area, advocating for the communities here. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm her daughter. But I also was born and raised here in the Glades, right in the cane fields of Clewiston. And previously in my other careers, I've worked with organizations advocating and bringing resources to the Glades. Glades Life Matter is a grassroots, community-based organization that, just like many of you, believes that the Glades is important, and that the people's voice in the Glades need to be heard, that the people of the Glades deserve the best social and economic choices. And that's pretty much the calling of Glades Lives Matter. We are currently working on scholarships for high school seniors. We serve Pahokee, Belgrade, South Bay, Clewiston, and Moorhaven. And right now we are in the process of selecting scholarship winners for all of the high schools in those counties. The 3 winners, there'll be 3 winners from every school. And we will take them along with their parents and 1 elected official from every county to legislative session in Tallahassee. That will be this month, actually. And so we just want you to know what we're doing in the Glades. I wanted to introduce myself, and I look forward to working along all of you because I know, just like me, you believe that Glades Lives Matter. And I thank you for the opportunity just to introduce myself. Thank you, guys.
Do you have any flyers regarding the scholarship?
I have contacted all of the schools, and the deadline is actually today.
Okay.
But we will be, if I can just take 10 more seconds, we will be improving the program, and we will select winners early in the year, and they will then become the ambassadors throughout the year, and that will allow them more exposure and more chance for us to mentor them. So I will provide that information for the upcoming school year and other things we're doing. Thank you so much.
Mr. Robert Love?
My name is Robert Love, 2638 Gate. I'm gonna turn around when y'all can read this. You see what this say? Can anybody read this up? Can y'all read? Cause some people.
Mr. Love, address the commission.
I'm dressing. Okay, can you read this? Can you read this? Can you read it? Sometimes I think you can't read what the words you be saying, with pronouncing, the way you pronounce this. This says, Love and Company, coming at you. Meet us at the table. Y'all see all kind of colored people at the table. You see all the colored people? And it said, we're touching and agreeing is a must. And so when people come up here, I'm listening, no, trying to tell me how I should act at meetings. Y'all got the wrong one. Y'all got the wrong one to tell how to act at meetings. Because like I say, when y'all get to telling them how to act, I do this here at the table, 8 o'clock every morning, 7 o'clock every evening. And y'all set y'all behinds around. I ain't gonna say the word I want to say. Y'all sit around and won't run up here and talk about nothing that need to be going on. I don't care if they finna build a Taj Mahal in Pahokee. There's still stuff going on that ain't right. And y'all gonna sit up here and act like, oh, this city, the mayor in this city, that. That's a damn lie when y'all get to sit up here and telling lies and talking about y'all protecting them. That's why the city in the predicament it's in, because y'all set back, and then tell somebody, like I say, y'all talk about the people in Tallahassee, go on my page, there's 16,000. 16,000 coming to the table a week. 16,000. When you go to my page, it ain't 16 people.
It's a little aggressive.
It ain't 16 people keeping 16,000 watching what you do. Don't think it's Tallahassee. It's these people what's in Pahokee. I'm addressing you. You can hear me? Can you hear me?
Stay
Because
to the
y'all talking
podium
about how
so we
people
can
acting
listen
here.
to you.
How y'all acting? You acting like you a damn dictator up in here telling people what they can do and what they
You're
can't
out
say.
of order with the cursing.
What I cuss? When did I cuss? When did I cuss?
Cuss every time.
Well, what? Name them. Cause you say, the way you talk sound like you be cussing. Sound like you be cussing. You don't want me to get there. But like I'm still saying, y'all sit around here protecting these people here, acting like so much going on. It ain't nothing going on up here. And y'all know it. And then it makes me sick on my stomach. Where the finance report? Where everything we've been asking for? Y'all run up in here with all this stuff. We've been asking for something week after week after week and ain't getting it. Get the lie from Lucas. Licking lips Lucas. That's who we get them from. We get them from you. We get them from you because you the one tell them the lie what they're going to go through. And then like I still say, when y'all be coming at me, you coming at 16,000 more people. Stop acting like it's just me. There's a lot of people watching y'all. Talking about Tallahassee watching y'all. Here's people in Pahokee watching y'all. Here's a shame of building, 3-story building, the people got to get put out before y'all go down there and say anything. It's a shame. Y'all see the people got put out of the building. Where y'all commissioners? Where y'all commissioners at? Where Lucas at? All them damn people got put out the building, and then nobody can say, well, where they gonna go? Tell them. Ask them where they going at. And then when y'all be protecting them, know what you're doing when you're protecting these idiots, because I talk about them every day. Not no talking about no sometime. I talk about them morning, noon, and night. And ain't no respect for them because they ain't got none for me. And anybody ain't got no respect for me, I ain't got none for them. I serve the Lord. I don't serve no man. Ain't nobody gonna
Any
dictate
additional
me.
cards?
Get that right.
Miss Ida Pringle?
Y'all know you walk slow now, give me an extra second. Thank you, y'all tell me. Good evening. My name is Ida Pringle. I live at 316 Kisman Avenue, right down from Vice Commissioner Mervyn. Praise God, and here in Pahokee. And I first of all want to thank you all for, I finally got my opera application. Thank you all for that. And my other concern is about our children in Pahokee. They don't have nowhere to play, nothing to do. And y'all should be considered that. Get them a nice park out there by New Hope. The grass be so high, I wouldn't let my dog, but I don't like dogs. I wouldn't let my dog go out there. That don't make sense. And I saw the cemetery, praise God, but I'm not going to be put out there. And all them weeds, because I'm going to heaven anyway. And I don't understand why y'all be so secrecy. And I keep hearing y'all talking about 100-year celebration of Pahokee. Like I said, we ain't got but 2 signal lights. My God, my God. If you don't stay in Pahokee, praise God, you ain't gonna know nothing. But it's a shame the way we voted for you all, and y'all ain't doing nothing for us. Now I'm gonna say this, and I think I'm gonna sit down. No, I ain't correct. That's my time right there?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Oh, Jesus. And I thought about too, like those people in Parker building, they're getting put out. I didn't see Red Cross come. Y'all ain't trying to help these people. And the young lady was hung herself. Y'all didn't go by and check on the lady or nothing. Suppose that had been y'all child. And see, you know a bird fly high, but they got to come down one day. And God don't like no liars. Praise God. Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to sit down. And I know don't nobody know that I've been holding it, and I don't have to hold too much. This commissioner, vice, whatever, called me the next morning. I'm finna eat my breakfast. My breakfast done been brought to me. Call me. How you doing? I say, hungry. She told me she didn't think I should have said what I said to her. What? Yeah, she got like on some child. She need to stay in her lane. Don't try me no more. I'm a pit bull just like you. Don't come growling
That's
at
not
me.
true, Ms. Ida.
And everything somebody say, you got some office to say, you need to stop. And had a nerve to tell me, I'm surprised that you supposed to be you're a woman of God. I said, I'm surprised that you a woman to say you're a woman of God, but when they lie, you got to lie. And a lie ain't gonna tell them God eyesight.
Oh, God.
Now you put that in your pipe and smoke, and you called me. When I got through talking with you, I went to the left one, you tell them that. And I'm still saved. Both of y'all, and then y'all get up there and act like y'all don't know nobody. Y'all don't look no better than me. And I meant what I said and said what I meant.
And you still gonna come to the table?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The people at Parker Building, how much notice did they get?
They got from Friday till Monday.
That's illegal. That's illegal. The people cannot be put out in 1 week.
4 days, not the 1 week, 4 days.
4 days, that's illegal. That's illegal. First of all, let me tell you guys something. Okay? It's the responsibility of the landlord. If the property gets condemned, yes, the property owner is the one that's responsible to relocate the families that they have. They get three times the amount of the rent, or $2,000, whichever is greater. Okay? They need to go to Rural Legal Services in Belgrade. It's free, and seek assistance. That's what they need to do. They've known those violations has been there for years and years and years and years and years, and they have allowed to keep ownership of that property, and they have allowed that landlord to do a dump. First it was the story that it was a little old lady that didn't have no money. Well, I researched the little old lady. She's not little, she's not old, and she's not poor. But somehow, I don't know what happened. They've been getting away with the violations in there. That building is deplorable, okay? It's not the city's responsibility. I'm glad that the city is supposed to be working with other agencies to find them a place to live. But the landlord is responsible. And that's illegal for them to be put out in 4 days. That it's illegal in the state of Florida. Search the law.
Don't tell the city manager that.
I'm telling the citizens, so anybody that knows anybody that is in the Parker Building, you have legal rights.
Ms. Adam, if you would, if I could, Mr. Lucas, just come up and just give a brief update on what the city have done to aid and assist those residents. We've been having several calls with Palm Beach County and other entities to help make sure that those residents is replaced in a more suitable environment.
How accountable have you held the landlord? Has anybody had a talk with the landlord?
Yes, Ms. Sally was giving an update on that. And you just make it brief, Ms. Allen, just a quick update.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. The tenants were notified a notice was sent out to the property owner who owns 169 Adams Place as well as 170 West 3rd Street. 169 Adams Place is also known as 314 Rardon. The property owner was noticed on Friday. He was there when Palm Beach County Department of Health was there, as well as our building officials were there. The building was noticed to vacate, nuisance declared. My apologies. The notice says, upon visual inspection today, my designee, this property, is deemed a nuisance per section 17181 of Code of Ordinances. Evidence of water instruction into electrified electrical units, broken glass, missing life safety, smoke, and fire alarms, evidence of mold, deplorable living conditions, disregard for the health, life, and safety of the tenants occupying the building. operating without an active local business license, business tax. The property owner was unable to get a business tax license because he was unable to rectify all of his violations. The property owner purchased the property with liens, so he was well aware of those liens. And the tenants, as you saw during the news report, the tenants said that the property owner did not do what they were told to. The property owner had not done what he promised to do for them. The notice said all units must be vacated effective as of 5 p.m. on Monday, the 27th of February, 2023. And it was noticed by the city's building official. The city has, even though it is the responsibility of the tenant, of the property owner, the city has assisted the residents with trying to locate places to stay. So we have a resource list, as well as being able to reach out to some individuals who have contacted us to assist. So we have been in contact with those individuals.
It's illegal.
Thank you.
It's illegal to have
Okay, we're gonna-
evict the people in 4 days. It's illegal. A
Ms. Allen,
municipality should know
thank you for
the
your
laws of
report.
Florida.
We're gonna move on. City Clerk, do we have any additional comments, Carl?
Ms. Barbara Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Barbara Brown, 1535 Reverend Jesse Biggs Boulevard. First thing I want to know, is there any updates like on the park out there or the property next to the park? Did y'all look into that to see?
The park in Citizen Village.
Because I'm really concerned about those kids having somewhere to go.
The property is for sale.
It's for sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
They already know.
Lucas. Ask me a question.
So can the city look into that or see about purchasing some of it to expand the park for the kids out there? Because it's only a little strip.
Yeah, we'll make sure we give an update at our next commission meeting. I'll have Ms. Adam or staff just provide what transaction have occurred between now and then. I know we have been looking to purchase some land out there so we can build an adequate park. The land that we currently own is small, and plus it need a lot of work as far as demucking to get it into the condition to be able to build and put playground equipment on there. But she'll have a more detailed update for us at our next commission meeting.
Okay.
Have
Another-
to demark to put playground equipment?
And I think Mr. Carlos was also looking at the cost of doing it, so you have a budget. Yeah, they're the same like anything else. You got to build up the foundation. If you put it there, it's just gonna sink. It's muck. So you may not need as much because you're not building a home or something, but there's equipment out there and you need to have it properly demucked.
You wouldn't. A little bit of shell rock will hold up a swing. I mean, so this thing demucking just don't sound right to me. But anyway, I wanted to know why our kids never had a crossing guard. They have to cross a major highway to get to school. And those big trucks speed up. They even speed up when we trying to come out. So why have they never had a crossing guard there at Citizen Village?
That's a school board issue, but we certainly can advocate on behalf of the community and our residents for that and see if we can get it done. But that's not something we directly control, but we'll certainly be an advocate for that.
Okay. And a lot of people have been having problems with the people on that list. You got 1,000 names, and those people are not willing to come out. You got people, I know somebody told me $250 for an estimate. I had another one, $150 for an estimate. You know, they just not willing to do it. And it's like people that have the hook or know people, they gonna get in there while we just sitting around waiting, because we can't get the people out.
If I'm not mistaken, I know we have at least 2 local, Sanchez and one other that lives right in this community or in the Glaze area. Hopefully, you may be able to get in contact with them so you can get your quotes in as needed.
And when I did find on there the Bill Glade, he ain't came yet. Told me he was coming, he ain't came yet. And another thing, Ms. Tasha, at the last meeting, I asked you, would you take your rightful seat, because I think it'll be a lot better if you face us.
I am facing you, Miss Barbara. I don't have, if I look at you just point straight, y'all got a problem. I look at you point straight.
Everybody else is facing us. So why can't you do the same as a
Okay, Ms. Brown, beside Ms. Fitzpatrick, time is up. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. In addition, comments, cards, City Clerk?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to our presentation. We'll turn this part over to our city manager, Mr. Lucas, to introduce or bring forward any presentation we're going to be having.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 5 items here under presentation. First person coming up for consideration is a consultant for grant writer, Jeff Winter. He's going to have a presentation. Also, you will see a letter from Mr. Winter that I've given you guys, and also the outline of the presentation.
Good evening, Commission,
Good
City
evening.
staff, residents of the City of Pahokee. I'm Jeffrey Winter with Cornerstone Community Partners. This is a perfect, thank you. After following these City Commission meetings, the countless live streams, it's a pleasure to finally appear before you all tonight in person. From what I've observed as an outsider, this community consists of a very broad spectrum of perspectives that all share something, if not much, in common. The members of this commission, city staff, and the residents of Pahokee all share a deep passion for your community and its future. Although that passion can inevitably present many challenges, it also serves to demonstrate the unbreakable sense of community you all have built together as you work through these challenges towards progress. I genuinely believe that the city of Pahokee is blessed to have so many active residents that show up for every commission meeting, participate in the discussions that impact their lives and livelihoods. Before requesting an opportunity to appear before you all tonight, took a moment to made a point to stand by to start by listening to each and every one of the concerned citizens that care enough about their community to take the time out of their busy schedules and voice their concerns. Throughout just the past few City Commission meetings, multiple unaddressed local community development needs have been identified by residents and members of this commission, to include additional improvements to the Pahokee Marina and Campground, the development and expansion of city parks, which I believe was just brought up here just a few moments ago, including the current state of the city splash pad, EV charging station needs, the implementation of roadway safety measures and sidewalk repairs and construction, substandard housing conditions, and investments in infrastructure throughout the city. Each of these local needs can be addressed through funding resources currently available to the City of Pahokee. These include FDEP's Florida Recreational Development Assistance Program, FERDAP, US DOT's Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Program, US DOT's Safe Streets and Roads for All Grant Program, DEO's Rural Infrastructure Fund Program, and DEO's Small Cities CDBG Program. The 2024-2025 FERDAP application cycle is anticipated to open within the next 6 months. And the city of Pahokee is eligible to submit up to 2 applications for up to $200,000 per application to address the development and expansion of city parks, including the Pahokee Marina and Campground and the city's splash pad, in addition to additional park needs. As a designated rural area of opportunity, the city of Pahokee is also eligible to request a match waiver to eliminate any out-of-pocket expense on behalf of the, through local funds. As part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Program was established to strategically deploy electric vehicle EV charging infrastructure and other fueling infrastructure projects in urban and rural communities in publicly accessible locations, including downtown areas and local neighborhoods, particularly in underserved and disadvantaged communities. A total of $2.5 billion is being made available in CFI funding over the next 5 years. The 2022-2023 CFI application cycle is anticipated to open within the next few months to make the first round of $700 million in CFI funding available. The bipartisan infrastructure law also established the Safe Streets for All program to provide funding for sidewalk repairs and construction and the implementation of roadway safety measures. A total of $5 billion is being made available in CFI funding over the next 5 years. The FFY 2023 SS4A application cycle is anticipated to open in April, and a total of $1.1 billion has been budgeted for that funding resource. During the last City Commission meeting, Dr. Thomas Dorita with Resource Group referenced a funding resource available through DEO. Commissioner Perez, I believe you requested some additional information on that funding resource. The program discussed is the RIF program. A total of $30 million in RIF funding was made available in FY 2022-2023 to facilitate the planning, preparation, and financing of infrastructure projects in rural communities, which will encourage job creation, capital investment, and strengthening and diversification of rural economies. DEO recently announced $12 million in RIF funding, so they've subsequently opened a supplemental application cycle to award the unencumbered balance of $18 million with an application deadline of March 13th. It is my understanding Ms. Adams is currently preparing an application for the City of Pahokee for RIF funding. Just to provide a little bit more information on that program to address some of your questions, this program is intended to facilitate access of rural communities to infrastructure funding programs, such as those offered through Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, the United States Department of Agriculture's Rural Development Program, and the United States Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration, some of the programs offered through there. As it relates to the Small Cities CDBG program, the City of Pahokee is currently ineligible for this funding resource as it's participating in Palm Beach County's CDBG entitlement program, wherein the city was allocated approximately $40,000 in FY 2022-2023. That's out of the county's $6.5 million annual allocation. And the city's allocation from the county is steadily declining each year. If the city were to withdraw from the county's CDBG entitlement program, the city would be eligible to participate in the Small Cities program for a competitive award between $700,000 to $750,000. That's more than 17 times the amount allocated through the county. We've discussed the withdrawal process with DEO to facilitate this transition if the city is interested in exploring this opportunity further. We've also drafted scoring projections for a prospective Small Cities application to confirm the city would have been able to successfully compete for a funding award within each of the last 5 fiscal years. At an average contract term of 2 years per award, this equates to more than $2 million in missed opportunities throughout just the past 5 funding cycles. DEO just recently issued a notice of funding availability on February 17 to announce the FFY 2022-23 Small Cities cycle to open March 20th and close on May 5th. Approximately $13 million is available within this upcoming application cycle. Now, the funding resources being discussed just tonight are just a few examples of the opportunities that are currently available to the City of Pahokee. And these resources were proposed based on the limited, unaddressed local needs, community development needs that were identified by residents and members of this commission throughout just the past few City Commission meetings. With a more in-depth discussion of the city's unaddressed needs, we'd be happy to provide some additional funding resources for consideration by the City Commission in this community. I have provided some additional information on each of the discussed funding resources for your consideration, with additional copies, I believe, been made available, where I can certainly include anybody else that might be interested in learning more about these programs. Now, I'm here tonight because my firm provides consulting services to address community development needs through available funding resources. Now, our underlying philosophy is based on our commitment to building strong, long-standing relationships, community partnerships with our clientele. It's also my belief that trust is an honor that should be earned, and I'm willing to put in the work to earn the trust of this commission and the community. As a good faith gesture to demonstrate my commitment to the city, I'm proposing tonight to offer funding resources management services to the City of Pahokee at no cost. This would include coordination with the City of Pahokee staff to develop a comprehensive list of unaddressed community development needs, the identification of available funding resources to address these needs. Furthermore, should the City of Pahokee express an interest in pursuing any of these opportunities, we would propose formal procurement in accordance with the federal procurement standard provisions, 2 CFR Part 200. This is to ensure that the procurement process is conducted in a manner providing full and open competition. It also serves to provide additional assurances to the public that all procurement transactions are being conducted properly, while also providing the benefit of allowing for the inclusion of those costs for the services to be paid through the funding resources if applicable, to ensure minimal out-of-pocket expense to the city. Just to provide a brief summary of our firm's qualifications, the current CCP staff and management team possesses more than 129 years of extensive combined grant administration experience within a broad range of federal and state grant programs. However, our area of expertise is specifically in the CDBG program, where we've assisted the client communities with the award of more than $173 million in CDBG program funding. Within just the last 5 years, we've enjoyed the opportunity to provide application development and administrative services for 41 grant-funded applications. And each one of these 41 applications that we provided services for subsequently received funding awards totaling more than $36 million, resulting in a 100% success rate. We would be honored to have the opportunity to provide the City of Pahokee with funding resources management services. Should we receive this honor and privilege, it would be our primary goal to provide you all the exceptional level of professional and diligent services we've built our reputation upon. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of you all may have at this time.
The status of your current incorporation, is it active or inactive?
It's active, sir. We're registered with the Department of sunbiz.org. You can pull it up. It's Cornerstone Community Partners is a fictitious name, DBA. It's specific to the work that I do for communities. The parent corporation is Winter Consulting Group, LLC.
Okay. And maybe you could provide our administrative staff at least with a copy of that. I wasn't personally able to pull it up, so maybe I did something wrong and
it's pulled under the division of corporations as a DBA. And I'll provide both that registration as well as the registration for Winter Consulting Group, LLC.
Okay, and how long have you been incorporated?
My business has been incorporated since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I started in this industry with another firm in 2003. I've since left in 2015 to establish my own firm,
mm-hmm.
and to this day, I still consult and contract with that previous employer in order to help manage all of their grant programs as well, specifically for grant application development.
Okay, in your firm, I recall you mentioned about 36 million, but for your firm itself, how much funding have you generated for your clients?
I can pull up, I'd have to get back to you on the exact funding amount, but one point is that I do have agreements as a sub-consultant with all of the members on our team, including 2 additional consulting firms. It's every application that they have developed, I have been a part of. It's what I do for them as well. So I can claim my participation is a full 36 million within just the last 5 years.
What's your position in the DBA, in the business?
Say that again?
What is your position in the business?
Principal, I'm the owner.
You're the principal owner. And what projects can you tell us that you receive funds for?
Just most recently, we've received 3 Community Development Block Grant CDBG CV awards for Hamilton County, the City of McClenny, and the City of Groveland. Prior to that, we've provided FFY 2021-2022 grant application services for, I believe, 5 other communities, including Hamilton County. You can pull up several, give me a moment to pull up that list, and I'll be happy to go through that with you. I can provide you with a detailed breakdown as well, too. We actually just recently submitted a proposal earlier this morning. Has a full breakdown of all of our clientele that we've just recently provided services for, including within that last 5-year period.
And this question is for the city attorney. Even with the offer of doing this for free, are we able to, or we need to still go out for an RFP?
You always want to go out for an RFP. So that's a part of what your code provides for. And if this firm were willing to do it at some minimal amount, they would put that in response to the bid in the RFP response.
And you did yourself mention the RFP, so it can be competitive and fair and equal to everyone.
It provides a lot of benefits. Yeah. It adds for fair and open competition. Yeah. It provides for transparency. It also, in a lot of these grant-funded programs, you have to look at the fact that in order for you to capture some of the costs, the pre-application or pre-award costs for example, application development, those costs require you to go through formal procurement in accordance with 2 CFR Part 200, just to be able to be eligible to claim those pre-award costs. So there's many benefits, and yes, I'd strongly encourage going out for procurement. The services that I've offered tonight are simply just an opportunity to sit down, review your local community development needs, identify some funding resources, and then bring those opportunities to the City Commission, to give you all an opportunity to review that information, be able to make an educated decision on whether or not you feel it's a good fit for the City of Pahokee, and then at that point make a determination as to whether or not you want to pursue formal procurement before I'd be willing to put any work in on it.
So how did you hear about us?
I do a lot of research. I actually just met with Okeechobee earlier today. I've looked at a lot of different communities that are eligible, specifically rural communities, as you all have a lot more opportunity than some of the other communities that are competing for some of these same funding resources.
I know. We've lost a lot of money because we haven't done anything, I know.
When you look at, just to bring it up again, the FERDAP program, that's just one example of where, as a rural community, you've got a designation as a rural area of opportunity. That allows you to request a match waiver, whereas many other communities that don't have that designation are met with a 50-50 match. So I do tend to, when I do my marketing on potential clients, I do try to target those disadvantaged communities, as you have a lot more opportunity available to you, and a lot of times those same communities, like the City of Pahokee, aren't aware that those opportunities exist, or aren't aware that the benefits exist to help support your efforts.
Well, if we had somebody qualified, we would.
Say it again?
Said if we had somebody qualified, we would have.
Have you worked with Lucas before?
I have worked with him before.
I figured that out. I figured that out. Everybody come in.
Okay. Thank you. You ready for your next? In additional question from the commission? We're going to move to our next presentation. And thank you so much for that presentation, and our staff will be getting back.
Did you know he used to work with Lucas?
You out of order, Mr. Love. This is not a time for the interaction between you and the commission.
Next up will be the Rebel Recovery, and I'll have Mr. Mercedes come up to the microphone.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the commission. I'm from Rebel Recovery, Florida, and we have to.
Yes, Ms. Val. It should be the purple presentation.
And we're an organization that works on helping individuals with substance abuse and substance use history. And we were given a grant to provide services and access to services to the Tri-City area here in the Glades. And our organization, what was that? And our organization is specifically focusing on trying to help individuals in this area through peer-supported services. The grant that was granted to us is building communities of recovery, and the grant was awarded to us. It's for 3 years, and the purpose of it is to help individuals in the community with peer support specialists that are right here from this community. So we're hiring individuals that came out of this community and that have either been impacted by substance use history themselves or have been impacted by it through family members, friends, and have some experience in being able to talk and communicate with individuals in your community that are struggling with this. So B-Corps, the project will hire and train individuals from this community, Belglade, Pahokee, and South Bay right now. We have 2 individuals that live right here in your community that are working with us. And the project is working with the community with individuals impacted by substance abuse. As I said, the project seeks to empower community members through coordinated collaborations with existing resources, like Florida community health centers, for instance. We're working on trying to collaborate with them to create a memorandum of understanding to help them, for them to help us with helping people get access to healthy needles and other services as far as like testing for communicable diseases and things of that nature, and getting them to help and focusing on helping them and meeting them at where they are. Next slide, please. So right here you have my point of contact and my supervisor. I'm sure it's going to be shared. You can take note of it and reach out to us if you have anybody that you would like for us to make contact with to help them. Next slide, please. So, Rebel Recovery Florida, we've been around for quite some time now, considering everything that's been going on through the pandemic and everything in 2016. We have individuals that have been loosely helping people out in this community as is already. But right now we're at a point where we have a grant that's specifically tailored to help individuals in this community. We provide recovery support, community engagement, and we have certified peer education. We help individuals that came out of recovery to help them get certifications so that they then can reach back and help individuals that are still stuck in those circumstances, and meeting them where they are to help build them up. And, you know, as they say, each one teach one. One of our programs that we have is our Flash program that is providing access to health and needles as well. And it's something that we ramped up, especially during COVID. We have harm reduction services. Harm reduction services, what it specifically focuses on, is helping individuals that may be suffering with substance abuse and meeting them where they are, and maybe they're ready to go to a recovery center, and we can help them find funding for it to help them get there. And some services may be medicated assisted recovery. It may be medicated assisted recovery services, and we can also provide them access through some of our other resources that are out in the community and in Palm Beach County. We're a grassroots organization. This is an organization that was started with 2 or 3 people, and it continually grows. And through all of the impact that we've been able to make over in the eastern part of the county, we've been trying to find a way to get to this point where we can help individuals in this community and give you access to all of the other services that people in the other communities have already. And what we're asking for is for you to collaborate with us. Maybe have a memorandum of understanding where we come out here maybe once or twice a month, and we can have, even if it's a spot on the sidewalk somewhere, so that we can give people information, talk to them. Maybe somebody is struggling with some sort of substance abuse. It could be alcohol, anything, and just starting to have that conversation with them, because everybody in our country has had, anybody in the world has know somebody or has been impacted by substance use history, and we know that it's something that's complicated, and the research shows that it's a continuum. It's something that you have to meet them where they are. Some individuals may be ready to go to rehab. Some individuals may be willing to say, hey, this week I decided that I'm going to give up 2 of the substances that I'm using, and we can help them navigate through that until the point where they're ready to give everything up, if that's something they decide to do. But making sure that they're healthy and that the individuals in their family as well stay healthy. Next slide. So I mentioned peer supportive services. So go to the next slide. Peer supportive services is pretty much, as I said earlier, helping and educating individuals that can meet them at that level, that can say, I've been there. And saying, I've been there, and these are some of the things that work for me. And providing them options and access to the different types of services that they were able to take advantage of. And providing, and again, utilizing the people right here in this community, because as you can tell, your community really cares about the health and the future of the community. So what better place than to find people in your community to be able to help be agents of change. Our services that we provide are non-clinical, because the nature of peer support services is just that. You're meeting with real people that are going to be able to talk to you the way that you talk, and talk to you in the way that you're going to be able to understand. We have one-on-one support that models recovery principles and incorporates other evidence-based practices. Our organization is always focused on trying to get more education and more access to resources with the latest and the greatest of things that can work, that a lot of other organizations or a lot of areas in our community, in our county, are already getting access to, that, as we know, our area, the Glades area, is constantly neglected, and we're trying to collaborate with you on that aspect. Next. So, next slide. These are just some of the services that we provide: wellness programming groups, mindfulness meditation. We have the harm reduction works, wellness and recovery, heart recovery. We also have overdose prevention trainings that we have to help individuals get training on being able to administer Narcan if they find themselves in a situation, if they have a family member that is still suffering with substance use and substance abuse history, and to be able to save a life. Next slide. So the continuity of services, opportunities for pro-social engagement. Anybody that we engage with and talk to them, the goal is to link them to more positive surroundings, and provide and provide them navigation through any of the services that are already existing here. And we know that people that are dealing with substance abuse and recovery, sometimes it can be really hard to reach, and they're often isolated. And our goal is to be consistent, to just be here in the community consistently and providing the support, letting them know that the resources are available until they're ready to make the next step. So as I was saying earlier, we're training providers for Florida certification boards. We have robust peer education programs, wellness recovery, helping others heal, mental health first aid, and trauma-informed services. And as well as just providing people motivation to get, to the point where they're healthier. Next slide. And these are some of our community collaborators. As I mentioned earlier, Florida Community Health Centers is something that's right here in your community as well, over in Belle Glade, and they're an organization that we've been working on working an MOU as we're attempting to do with you. And these universities are also universities that we work with in helping our peer support specialists get the training that they get to provide top-notch quality services that are non-clinical but effective and been proven to work through science and evidence-based research. So since our inception, we provided 28 overdose response for response and naloxone trainings. We've contacted 449 people. We provided 6 harm reduction trainings to 142 individuals. And these numbers are not quite up to date. They're a lot higher since then. And we began regular facilitation of safety first drug education programs and provided over 780 hours of outreach. And we want to provide you with some of those outreach hours. Lives saved, we've distributed 23,155 Narcan kits. Those are the ones that help prevent overdose. And whenever we provide those kits, we also provide training on how to be able to do it and administer it. And we've received 1,456 overdose reversal reports. Those are individuals that have been able to prevent an overdose as a result of our training. And people that we've contacted, this is 2017, 1,906, and those are, we validated that they're unduplicated. As you know, sometimes people come to places and they get services multiple times, and this is without looking at repeat visits. And that's pretty much it. I know it's a lot of information, but our goal is to provide you, all this information is something that is here to provide our community, quite frankly. And it's an issue that's been neglected for far too long and that needs to be addressed. It's often an elephant in the room that people shy away from talking about.
Thank you for that presentation. Just a quick reminder, any commissioner have a quick question or two they need to ask?
Yeah, you're talking about, you come to the community and you find individuals here that have had, in the past, had either come out of a drug abuse or alcohol. And then you contact those individuals, you train them, and then that's how you reach the rest of the community. That's how your program works?
Well, that's one of the possibilities of things that can happen. You can help somebody get better and become stable and become healthier, and if they choose that they want to then in turn help their community in the same respect, they can do that. However, our goal is to help whoever it is, whether they decide that they want to be a part of the organization or help or not, it doesn't matter. Our goal is to help people.
How we contact you?
Got my phone number up there, sir. I have to give you my phone number before I leave.
Okay, give it to me because I know I can use you. I don't know what them, I done been to Georgia, but they ain't never been.
We're hiring.
I have a concern when they talk about, clean needles.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's kind of like, encouraging them to continue the use. I believe that the money would be better served by helping the individuals go through through a recovery program, which that's
Yes.
not feasible for many people.
And I understand that. And one of the things is that research shows, and as you can, anybody that has been has watched anything like on television, anything like that, you can see that getting someone clean is a very complicated process. And part of the process has proven that part of it is relapse as well too. It's multiple times of trying. So if you can meet somebody where they are, maybe
It's what it is. It's a disease.
maybe yes, yes, and maybe meeting them where they're at and telling them like, look, you have access to this right now, and if you're telling me that you're not going to stop using and that you're going to continue to use for as long as you want to, wouldn't it be better to make sure that that person is also healthy?
I understand what you're saying, but I've also seen in different areas, California and other places, where they have adopted these kind of programs, and what it is that the drug addicts, they come there and, you know, that's, they even used in there, some other places provide the thing for them to use.
No, we're not providing drugs. We're not providing drugs.
No,
We're
I don't
providing
think
them
she
access to services. We're providing them access to services and letting them know what resources are available to them. If it just so happens that they are caught in a situation where they're using unhealthy things, like dirty needles, you can spread tuberculosis and things of that nature. And it's something that, and the goal is first and foremost to educate them and to make sure that they are healthy and make sure that your community is as healthy as possible. And that's just one of the things that we provide. That's just amongst the different things that we provide, that's just one thing.
Okay, I think Commissioner Boland had a question he wanted to ask.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask, as far as the peers and the training, do you guys also address ethics and any HIPAA or anything like that?
Absolutely, and that's something they're really big on. For instance, especially when it comes to, because like I said, I'm from this community. I grew up in Belleville, and we know that one of the things that happened, especially in the 80s, late 80s and the 90s, was the whole thing with, you know, sensitive information and HIV and AIDS, positive testing and stuff like that. Our goal is to not over-document and create more of a mess. It's help people right where they are. Helping them right where they are, not trying to report any information back to anybody on any specifics or anything like that. It's to help the community. And that's how come we're willing to take whatever it is that you allow us to be here every day so that we can continue to build relationships with people.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for your presentation.
We have a location on Congress over in West Palm Beach, but I drive out here almost every day, sir. And Mayor, if possible, we would like to be able to discuss with you and with the city manager, setting up an MOU.
Okay.
To be able to make these things happen.
Okay. We'll reach you.
And anybody else in the community that wants to talk and about, you know, any goals or anything like that that you have, or that any way that you think that we can help, we're open to talking to you.
We talk about it every day, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
Next. Mr. Lucas, you're on.
Yes, sir. You don't even take that from you, that lie. You know that. Why you having me there? You just embarrassing yourself and in front of all these people. You know I'm not gonna do that. All right. This is the. Yes, I'm some shit. The night of the meeting. You should have had that last week.
Quarterly report. Next up will be the new interim finance director, Joseph Martin.
Damn. I'll be see you next week. I got to get this.
Mr. Love, you out of order, sir.
I'm like, I am?
Yes, you are.
Okay, you ready to put down?
Getting real close, sir.
Mr. Lucas,
I'm back in order.
Mr. Lucas, when was the new interim finance director hired?
His first day was February 6th of this year.
Did he go through the application process?
Yes, he did.
And he was interviewed?
Yes.
Was he the only one that went through the process and interviewed?
No, there was another gentleman, Dr. Lovett.
Dr. Lovett. How about all the people that...
Commissioner Perez, I'm sorry, but please refrain
Here we go
to
again.
later answer those questions. We have a long agenda items here.
I understand that, but I have questions.
You have an opportunity,
questions?
yes ma'am, but you have an opportunity to ask your question. We need to proceed.
Okay,
If it's
so I'm
okay.
asking it.
We have the staff on.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, City Manager, Deputy Manager, City Clerk, City Attorney. I am Joseph Morton, the Interim Finance Director. Here, the next slide, please. Okay, the summary covers the first quarter, which covers the 25% of the data as of December 31st, 2020. Except to the fact that the city is behind the audited financial statement, the monitoring of the city budget 2022-2023 indicate that the city is in good standing with the first quarter. Next slide, please. Now, this slide captures the revenue of the general fund. If we're looking at the line item, the first line.
I can't see that. Can y'all make that big?
I can't see it.
Ain't nobody ever see it. Nobody.
The first line are the taxes. The ad valorem tax, we receive about 65% of the ad valorem tax. The following are mostly revenue agreement, local taxes, communications, water utility, electric utility service, and the propane utility. Now, that is in our favor because it's way over the 25% for the 3 months. The following one is the permits, fees, and licenses. We had 24%. Now, the next line item, which is the intergovernmental, we had 19%. I know you will probably need to know why. The reason why it's less than 25% is because the following line revenue are anticipated to be included in subsequent period of the budget, such as the FPL lighting agreement, the PVC economic development, the DJJ, and the PHA payment in lieu of taxes. The fine and forfeitures is at 13%. Charge for services at 20%, 26%. The miscellaneous is at 21%. On the other sources, which is the budgetary fund, we have not touched it. Please go to the next slide, which is 11. Slide 11, which would next. Okay. Here is the capture of the expenditure.
Anybody see that?
Mr. Love, it is what it is, sir.
I
The
can
next
understand that,
interruption,
but
I'm gonna ask you to be
it is what it
escorted.
is. I can understand.
We're having too much difficulty with this gentleman.
Yeah, I'm going out tonight. Thank you all. I stopped this shit up tonight to get put out. I ain't gonna be here all night with these lies and foolishness. Come on, baby. There ain't nothing but lies and foolishness the rest of the meeting. That's what it is. And then that's how I conduct myself, Mr. Martin. Y'all be talking about how I do. Y'all know you'll get those rocks thrown right back at you. Throw them at you.
This slide represents the revenue for the first quarter of 2022-2023. Now, the first line item, we see 43%. Now, if you look at the indication, which is the legend, is really, let's say we make the number talk. The true rate is really 27% instead of the 43%, since there are three line items such as Tri-City Barbecue, life insurance, and dues that are really on a yearly, paid yearly. So if you, when you take that into consideration, the true rate is 27%. The following line item that could be of a concern is the public safety, which represent, with the true rate really is 23%, because we have a prepaid for January 2023 of the $48,000. Going down to park, we see that the true rate is really 35 instead of 42, because we have the solid waste assessment that is a yearly basis. Here we have the total rate. When you take into consideration the total amount for the general revenue and expenditure budget of $5 million, we spend $1,221,000, which is 24% for the quarter, and we're looking at 25%. So, in essence, this is good standing of the budget. Let's go to the slide for the special revenue form, which is page 4, which is slide 14. On the special revenue, there are line items here on the expenditure side that are encumbrances. So, in essence, it doesn't look too bad. The following, the ARPA, which is the slide 15. The ARPA fund, we received two installments. The first installment and the second one, which we know is budgeted to be expended in 22-23. The only items been really is $16,000 that been spent as of December. The debt service 3 months, which is 25% we on target. The slide for capital project is on slide 17. Here, the expenditures, when you look at it, it could have been a concern. However, it is not. And the reason why is because we have committed expenditures per resolution that are reflected here, which means at year end, some of them will be closed and moved to subsequent period, in case the project is depending on the percentage of the project. And then the next slide is the marina. It's similar to prior periods, so is the cemetery. Any questions?
I'm very impressed with your report. Very impressed with your report. I could have stood out there and read the the amounts and the subtitles and say, it looks like it's bad, but it's not, and all this. When was your first day that you started?
On February 6th.
February 6th. And you already did the financial review, and we're on target and we're on point. But yet we're behind. How does that work?
How does that work?
Yes, please.
The audit supposed to be done, and it's behind. You are well with that.
Very well aware of it.
Now, we are talking of the budget year 22-23. If you're looking at the last page is your cash.
I don't even want to look at this because this was just given to me just as I sat down. It's the first time I see this.
Sir, I have a question
So how
for
you expect me to follow this? Not you, I'm sorry, because you just started.
City manager, please.
Yes, I mean, this is a joke. We
Sir.
haven't had finances for what, 7, 8 months?
Hold on, I have a
And now
question.
you giving me this?
Hold on. I have a
Come
question.
on.
You stated you started working for the city as of February,
February
correct?
6th.
February 6th, correct?
Correct.
Prior to February 6th, how many months have you been working in City Hall? Under Susan?
6 months.
6 months. So I'm supposed to, no offense, trust you with these numbers that you're working underneath her?
Well, when you're saying trust me, if
No,
you-
sir, I
if
can't
you're
trust you, I
having
don't know
con-
you.
If you're having concern, look, I'm monitoring the budget, I'm helping the legislative side to monitor the budget. Now, if you have a concern, you can address it and put it in a question and we'll address it.
Okay, what about the audits of 2021? Have they been complete? I know they've been turned in, but they're incomplete. What's your part?
What's my part? City manager?
So we are working on 2021 audit, and it's, we're just waiting for a few more things so that that audit can start, and it'll take between 4 to 8 weeks to process and be completed. Then we would automatically turn to the next 21, 22 audit.
I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm so fed up. I'm so fed up, so
Yeah,
fed up, so
same-
fed up.
same here.
How in the heck, I mean,
Thank you, Joseph.
I don't know if y'all haven't had enough of this, but anybody that has any common sense and lived in this city could see what the heck is going on.
Commissioner Perez.
Yeah, Commissioner Perez.
Ma'am, you out of order with that.
I'm back in. All of us clapping. That's right. So why-
Everybody was clapping is out of order
Everybody
then.
up there, I'll except Miss Sierra and him.
Okay.
Tell them to get back in order.
Mr. Lucas, the next
we go.
presentation.
The next item is number 4, Black History Month and Community Spotlight. Miss Peggy Boulay, Washington.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission,
Good
members
evening.
of the community. The city of Pahokee is celebrating Black History Month and closing out Black History Month with a community spotlight. This flyer has been circulating throughout the city and on our city's website and webpage. We've extended the community spotlight to March 14th. We are inviting our residents to nominate a person of African American descent in the community who is a change maker, someone who inspires you. Simply put, it could be your pastor, it could be your neighbor, yourself even. There is a QR code on the flyer. Everyone has been receiving it throughout the community. I need to scan the QR code, put your email in, 2 questions. You name the person that you would like to nominate, as well as the Black-owned business that you would like to nominate as well. Simply put, the voting ends on March 14th. So again, it's been extended. It ends on March 14th, and those winners will be recognized at the annual I Love Pahokee Day event. And that will be taking place April 1st. Thank you.
Question. Could it be a deceased person?
Pardon?
Could it be a deceased person?
They would have to be a living resident.
A living resident, okay.
Yes,
I didn't hear that.
Thank you. So I'll just read really quickly the criteria. Must be an African-American/descent Pahokee resident for 5 years or more. Must be an inspiring change agent in a Pahokee community. Again, it's up to interpretation of what you believe a change agent is. And must be a living resident of the city. Thank you, and have a great evening.
And the last proclamation is number 5, Forward Together Proclamation. It's from Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, 20th Congressional District of Florida. The proclamation reads, Congress of the United States, Washington, D.C. Whereas in celebration of Black History Month, Congresswoman McCormick presents Forward Together to honor leaders who have been steadfast in their commitment to serving the community. Forward Together highlights the achievements of Florida's 20th Congressional District's elected officials. Today we honor the following elected officials for their commitment to servant leadership. And it goes through State Senator Bobby Bell, State Representative Gervonta Tay Edmonds, Palm Beach County Mac Bernard, Palm Beach County Commissioner Michael Barnett, Palm Beach County School Board Member Dr. DeAndre Poole, Palm Beach School Board Member Dr. Jean Enright, Palm Beach School Board Member Edward Ferguson, Palm Beach School Board Member Marcia Andrews, West Palm Beach Mayor Keith James, West Palm Beach Commissioner Shalonda Warren, Royal Palm Beach Fred Pinto, Riviera Beach Mayor Ronnie Felder, Riviera Beach Council Member Tradick McCoy, Riviera Beach Chairperson Consambala Miller Anderson, Riviera Beach Chair Pro Tem Shirley Lehner, Riviera Beach Council Member Douglas Larson, Belle Glade Mayor Steve Wilson, Belle Glade Vice Mayor Wilkerson, Belle Glade Commissioner Kenny Berry, Lake Park Commissioner Roger, Mike Horde, Pahokee Mayor Keith Babb Jr., Pahokee Vice Mayor Claire Tasha Mervin, Pahokee Commissioner Derek Bowden, Magnolia Park Mayor William Alberry III, Magnolia Park Council Member Kalisha Buchanan Webb, Magnolia Park Council Member Sarita Johnson, Magnolia Park Council Member Edward Earl Smith, South Bay Mayor Joe Kiles, South Bay Vice Mayor Betty Bernard, South Bay Commissioner Esther Berry, South Bay Commissioner Tarzane McKelvey, and South Bay Commissioner John Wilson. And this is presented by Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, 20th Congressional District. And that's to our 3. I have 3 proclamations.
Thank you.
I'll pick it up. Okay. I didn't know if you guys wanted a ceremony or not, but.
That concludes this section here, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we'll move to our consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda, it's February 14, 2023, regular meeting minutes. If there are no objection, we'll remain on the consent agenda item and take a vote unless the commission feel as a whole it should be removed for discussion.
Right. I would like to remove for discussion. Put a motion to remove for discussion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Gonzalez and properly seconded by Commissioner Perez that this item be removed off the consent agenda item and placed on our regular agenda for discussion. Are you call for questions? You ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Perez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden?
No.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
No.
Mayor Bab?
No. Motion failed by 3-2 majority. Now we entertain the consent agenda item, which consists of the February 14, 2023 regular scheduled minutes meeting. I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the minutes of that meeting, if it so choose.
February 14th,
Huh?
February 14th, regular meeting minutes, you're reading?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. What happened, Commissioner Gonzalez requested by motion that this be removed from the consent agenda item,
okay.
placed on the regular agenda item. All it would do is open it up for discussion.
Right. Because I'm trying to
On the
rescind my.
consent, it's really no discussion. We're just gonna vote on it.
Okay, how would I rescind my vote?
But you gotta do is say it, and you wanna change your vote.
Yeah, I want to change my vote on the 2023-04 from a yes to a no.
Through the mayor, you wouldn't do it through the minutes. The minutes that's what happened on that day. So that can't be changed. You can't go back in time and change your vote.
Didn't Tasha Mervin do that when they got rid of
Yeah, I don't recall that, but I can tell you that the minutes are that's what happened in the meeting. You know, so you're voting on the minutes of what happened during the meeting, and it is,
Okay,
you know,
so how
whatever
do
it
you
is.
rescind a vote?
Like I said at the beginning of the meeting, when you asked the same question, you could, it's going to be on this agenda. There's no way for you to rescind your vote. You would have to have done it before the vote took place. And the other way it can come up is if there is a motion for reconsideration and it's seconded and if that passes, then it gets back on the table again and reconsider it. But you don't have to do that because it's actually on for a second reading tonight, that very same issue. So at this point, you won't be allowed to rescind your vote. You would be allowed to vote on it again because that same issue is going to be on the agenda for a second reading tonight.
All right, so you're saying there's no way, shape, or form I can rescind a vote that I already put in?
That is correct.
All right, just for the record. Okay.
Mayor Bab, I move that we would accept the consent
She did
agenda.
it once before.
Exactly.
She voted in one meeting and came back the next meeting and changed her vote from the last time. So how was it different? Who's saying it's different?
She's saying if you vote on the minutes, she voted under the fire somebody, I'll keep them. That's different.
Mr. Mayor, there's a motion on the floor.
She made a vote on, she voted on an agenda item. And then came back and said
Okay.
she wanted to change her vote.
We do have a
That's the same
motion
thing
and a
you do.
second on the floor.
Who's second?
And that's what we should be addressing.
Okay.
Bowden, Commissioner Bowden, did you second?
Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner Perez?
No.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Motion passed by majority, 3-2 vote. Next, we'll move to old business. We have the discussion of existing activity previously held, if any. And what we have on our agenda is the update of city project, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Adams?
Mayor and
Good
Commission.
evening.
The project 647, the old house, so there was a delay. The equipment broke down. The part has been ordered. They should be back on track sometime towards the end of this week, and hopefully over the weekend. Phase 4 contract should be coming before the commission on March the 14th, and the bid amount was $207,172.50.
Who was the bidder?
Win and Son. It was only one bidder.
There's only one bidder. Winterson, who's Winterson?
Win and Son is a contractor in Palm Beach County.
How long was it out for?
So it was out for 21 days.
21 days.
Could you just briefly tell us what Phase 4, what streets are going to be
Phase 4 will
repaved?
be from 3rd Street, from South Lake all the way down to Carissa. That is 3rd Street. It'll be West 2nd Street, as well as East 5th Street, MLK Park area.
What's the status on Begonia when it's planning on being repaved?
So I'm going to Begonia.
Begonia.
Begonia Drive. So Begonia, we do not have Begonia right now on the list of SCOT funding. So if we get an additional set of SCOT funding, that is on the next set of roads to be paved with SCOT dollars. Otherwise, the city will have to set aside funding.
Okay, we mentioned though, at least trying to repair the potholes on those roads, and we got some major potholes on that road, the road on Carissa, and the road next to that. I mean, they're all throughout the city, but we got some major one. What's the status there? Because at one point, we was ordering some field, in some way it just stopped, the process
So
stopped.
yes, sir, Parks and Recs. Public Works Department has ordered fill and asphalt so that they will be able to fill Begonia, just to do the fill. To actually have the street resurfaced, that is a separate set of funding that we will have to have, but we are able to.
Have they ordered it? I mean,
Yes,
we're talking about
yes.
4 or 5 months ago.
They have ordered, so.
So it's on back order?
No, I asked this week, had it been ordered, and Public Works did tell me that it has been ordered, so we should be getting that down because it's just a milling that will have to take place. They will get it down and done. McClure, on Friday, this coming Friday, I have a meeting with Palm Beach County Water Utilities to start discussion of what the utilities will look like on McClure, to go hand in hand with the design work of it. And also there will be a town hall, which the date has to be determined so that we can have community participation in that. That is it, and then I have Barfield Highway contractor here to give an update.
So I have a question. On McClure Road, you're gonna have water work done and you're gonna have the road work done.
We're having discussion with Palm Beach County so that if it is utilities that need to be done, we can figure out if the utilities have to be done in advance or if it is going to be done simultaneously with the road.
And it's gonna be ITB, everything together.
So I cannot tell you that the ITB will be everything together because I haven't had that discussion with Palm Beach County Water. It depends on what the utilities look like. And mind you, the design has not been completed. So we're at the beginning stages of discussion and the design work still has to be done for the road.
What I'm trying to say, if it's gonna be 2 projects and you're gonna combine them, it would state on the ITB both scope of work. And a bid is gonna be for both work, not just advertise one and give both out.
So the bids
Understand what
are
I'm saying?
advertised for construction of the project. So if it is reconstruction or resurfacing, that is how it's advertised.
So
if you're
what
saying
do you
that's-
have it as?
So it will be advertised, the funding that we have from FDOT right now says for reconstruction, design, and CEI services.
Yeah.
So that is the funding from FDOT. If Palm Beach County gives money towards the project, then that money towards the project If it is a separate funding source, but the project will be included together, if it's two simultaneous projects, then it will be advertised as reconstruction. So I know you're trying to say that you want two separate
No,
utilities.
Because that doesn't work. Those change work orders, they're not happening anymore.
So I can't answer that
Well, they're not
question.
gonna happen. When you do the design, make sure that you do the design accordingly, so you don't have to come over here and get 18 change work orders.
So,
That's not
Commissioner
gonna work.
Perez, the design is funded by Florida Department of Transportation. Design is covered by Florida Department of Transportation and the city right now.
Do they have the water and utilities?
So unless Palm Beach County gives me an ILA for design, for money for design, then it is going to be constructed as FDOT and the city. Now, unless we just put towards money for design ourselves, and that is it, then we can put out two separate bids and we cover the bids. And I come back to commission and ask for funding for that.
Thank you, Ms. Adams, for that update. We're gonna
It
have
was
to move.
very good, but it was confusing and it didn't answer my question.
Well, I'm sorry.
Ms.
Yeah.
Adams,
You're designing a reconstruction of the road, but you're talking to the water department to do the water lines. And
Ms.
then
Adams.
they have to do their design, which they don't do the design, you do the design, but they give you the money. And then it's not advertised because it was in conjunction with FDOT, but then it's not part of the design because it wasn't foreseen, so then we got a change in work order, and this is how it all works. This is how it's been working in Pahokee, and this is the continuum of how it's
Ms.
gonna
Adams,
continue to work.
I want to cut you off short. Allow.
Yeah, don't answer me anymore because the mayor doesn't want you to come up here and confuse us anymore.
No, I'm just trying to move the meeting forward.
Yes, I'm sure you're always trying to move
You had the
the meeting.
opportunity to
But
ask
why do
questions.
we have the meetings if it's not for discussion?
Commissioner.
Why? Do you know all
Have you
these
saw the
answers?
link of this agenda?
I've seen it.
And
I've
you-
seen it. Believe me, I've seen it. I got it Friday night.
Were you able to ask your question? We gave you that opportunity, sir, if you would step up so we can proceed with the agenda.
How you doing? James Washington, Project Manager, Russell Site Development. We're doing Broadfield Highway, the reconstruction of it. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah. The main one I have is, are you continuing to water the roads? Because that's been the biggest complaint. I'm gonna be honest, I went by there today and I had to make a quick turn because dust was everywhere. I'm gonna be honest on that. So I'm just wondering, we're doing it on a daily basis as much as possible.
Yes, we're watering the road on a daily basis. It's just, the water truck we have is not the largest. It's not like the tanker that we usually have. That is something that we had to put on another project because this project pushed out longer than what was anticipated, and we have other projects going on. I know that's not what you all want to hear, but we are watering the road. We're looking at getting a second water truck out here that can double the capacity so that we can have more water on the road.
One quick other question. Is that other project that the larger truck was pulled from is over over 4.3 million?
Yes.
It is much larger.
Yeah, but regardless of that, like we have a schedule that we've been keeping. So, as you all know, this project has been extended out. It's been drug out for whatever reason. We did not anticipate on having our resources here this long. This is something that's not a fault of ours, but we're still making arrangements to accommodate the city and the engineer as best we can under these circumstances. So if y'all don't mind, I just ask that y'all continue to work with us. We'll continue to do as best we can what we have. As you all see, progress is being made. It might be, it might not be as much as you all would like to see, but here, once these couple of change orders get pushed through and that design issue goes away, then here in the next month, things will get back revved up. We have one more that we're waiting on to get some funding from DOT on. Once that pushes through, then we can come through between 4th and 3rd to start getting the sanitary sewer and the drainage in, which will in turn allow us to connect the part of the road that we're doing now between 2nd and 3rd, because you all see the curb is going in, he's prepping out for it right now. that allows us to get the road curb and sidewalks in, and then fall back to the constructed portion of the road between the corner store, the hardware store, and 3rd Street.
Mr. Washington,
Sir?
I don't know who's supervising that out there, who's telling you that they're watering down the road every single day. They're not doing it every single day.
All right. I have that conversation. I look at my daily reports and whatnot, but I have that conversation with my superintendent here tomorrow. Should be out here late tomorrow afternoon to go over payout quantities and whatnot. But I'll have that conversation and see what we can do.
Okay, appreciate it.
Make everybody look easier.
Excuse me, what's the estimated completion date?
Right now it's extended into 2024, but that can be brought back in as long as the funding is approved for the day. All right, cool.
The next change order that will be coming to commission will be for that Palm Beach County water pipe that James was just speaking of, and then that's
We're good on the county.
Yeah,
That's the one I just sent in. I think it was early this week, last week, but the drainage is what we're waiting on for DOT. We can't do the water or the sewer without the drainage. And I just say this in closing. The drainage is what we need to have approved in order to move forward between 4th and 3rd Street. We got to put the drainage in before we put the sewer in the water. As Ms. Adams was saying, the county's already approved the sanitary sewer change order. That was something else, but that's a go as it stands right now. But we need the drainage approved, and it was some back and forth between DOT on the funding because they are funding this project. So once we have an answer from them on what to do next, then we'll be able to go ahead and move forward. But we did get approval to abandon the existing water line in place. That's what's allowing us to continue to move forward on the east side of the road with the curb and the sidewalk. Because, like I said, we will be dead in the water if I wasn't pushing to have these little modifications to keep us moving forward. We want to get out of here just as bad as you all want us to, trust me. And I think we were supposed to be out here last year, and we ain't making no money on it. You know, nobody's making any real money off this. Anytime a project extends out past what it's supposed to, profits are zero. You know, so if y'all have any questions, unfortunately I only brought one card with me. I'll leave this up here on the podium. Like I said, if y'all have any questions, most of y'all have my phone number. Give me a call if you have any questions. We'll see what we can do to ease this process on. So.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this question, Mayor, ma'am. Can you increase the waterage to reduce the dust? I know you have one truck.
This goes back to what I was saying before. So we can increase the water with the heat being what it is. It's going to evaporate just that much faster, and you're going to have that much more road that doesn't get water. So we can dump the truck as fast as we can, but at the same time, the coverage is going to be decreased because the capacity of the truck goes back to what I was talking about.
I don't think it means to increase the flow, just increase the times. Water and more than once is probably what he meant.
Is that where you get at?
Yes.
Well, it's not a water at once thing for us. Commissioner Gonzalez was saying, he says he's not seeing it out there as frequently as I may believe what my guys are telling me. So what we'll do is try to get this other water truck out there so we have 2 tankers being able to put water on the road. So that's where I'm at with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all time.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, we're going to have public hearings and ordinances. First ordinances is ordinances 2023-01. City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, submitting to referendum an amendment to the city charter amending section 3.01 entitled Designation to add the city attorney as an additional charter officer, providing for an adoption of representations, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in code, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney and City Manager. Could you give us a brief explanation of ordinance 2023-01?
Yes, sir, Mayor. On page 16 of our agenda packet, Exhibit A, and it's just adding "and city attorney." So it would read the city, the charter officer would be city manager, city clerk, and city attorney as designated as charter officers.
Thank you, sir. At this time, before we entertain a motion or a second, we're going to open this up for a public hearing. This is the second reading of this ordinance. We're going to open it up for a public hearing for anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this ordinance can come up to the mic and speak. So I'll open up the public hearing on ordinance 2023-01. Seeing no one wish to speak on this, I would close the public hearing, and city commissioners, having heard ordinance 2023-01 read on the second reading for the second time, what is your pleasure?
Question?
After give us a motion in a second.
And that I move to accept ordinance 2023-01.
I second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and probably second by Vice Mayor Mervin for the movement of ordinance 2023-01. Call for questions.
Question. What's the difference between having the city attorney as a charter member and not being part of the charter officer? What's the difference? How's it benefit? What's the difference?
The main benefits I see it just give the city attorney a little more, job security. It just requires for a hearing, if you choose to have one, and a timeline to do that before termination. That's basically what I see. The only difference is, it's just like our city manager. We have to give him a opportunity to hear. We have to decide whether it's for cause or not, and just things like that.
I have a question. What's the benefit to the city? How does that benefit the city? Because we're looking out for the city. We're not looking out for the city attorney. So how does it benefit the city? What's the benefit to the city? Are we making this for the city, looking out for the city attorney, or are we looking out for the residents and for the city?
Again, this recommendation
I'm
came.
not asking
I'm
the
just making it.
What is the benefit to the city to make the city attorney a charter
Okay,
officer?
I'll let you ask your question. I'm just trying to answer it the best I can.
Answer it to me.
The charter committee proposed this charter change. So
I know how it happened.
they may have
That's
saw
not the
a
answer to my
benefit
question.
if they put it on the charter requesting a change. I'm almost sure they saw a benefit to the city to pose this.
I'm asking a question. I am a commissioner. I'm expected to vote, and the residents are asking the same questions. How are we benefiting by making this change, by adding the city attorney to the city charter? It's a simple question. What is the benefit to the city? Our responsibility is to look for the benefit to the city and to the residents. Not to the city attorney, but to the citizens and to the city. So how? Somebody answer me. What is the benefit to the city of Pahokee by making the city attorney a charter officer?
Mayor Bab, I would say stability. If you listen to what Mr. Tom DeLito said there, they're looking for stability.
And
That's
the city attorney,
if Mr. Brandenburg brought that same thing here, it wouldn't have been a question. It wouldn't have been a question. It would have been voted on. It's stability.
Get over the
You asking, can I say what I say, Sarah? You ask your question, I'm just saying what I say. So I say stability.
Stability, okay, stability.
Again, that question could be better answered by the committee who posed it, and they're not here, so other than that. Okay, it's two here.
Okay. Just like it doesn't, you say it don't benefit the city, it don't hurt the city.
So why we're gonna change it if it doesn't, is that gonna make any difference? why are we gonna go through all this if we don't agree with the job the attorney's doing? Why do we have to jump all these hoops?
We don't agree. I can say this right here.
For one, I don't agree, but this is not about now.
Let me explain something.
Since you're on the committee, come.
At the committee, we voted.
Say your name and stuff
discussed a
first.
lot of things. And
Mr. Say your name for just to get on the record.
I'm James Scott, 30,
Yeah.
44 Edgewater Drive, Pahokee. I'm gonna say this about Ms. Weeks. Ms. Weeks she made, to me, one mistake since I knew her, and she apologized and she acknowledged that she did it. Other than that, we need to back off it. Because she just said, y'all, thousands of dollars. Last meeting with 2 attorneys. That didn't make sense to me. But my thing about, back to what the main question is, when they brought it about her being on there, I wasn't there to vote that day, but I agree with it. Okay? But I don't see where it's hurt the city for her being a part, because by her being there all the time, we always got somebody that we can just ask a question that a free question sometimes. You don't want to get paid. You don't have to get, we don't charge the city for that. To me, she'll access instead of, and I understand what you're saying. We're not trying to protect nobody's job. Because you know me, I don't care.
Then why make her a charter officer?
Because, just as I said, she'll access to us.
Yeah.
To the city.
She has to answer anyway.
Well,
She's hired.
But here's the thing, you paying her then. When she volunteering her time, it's free.
Really?
Yeah.
She gets paid for it. She doesn't volunteer anytime free.
Trust me.
No.
Yeah.
We're in question and answering session, and you ask the question, so if you're not comfortable with it, then you don't vote
So
in
that
favor of
everybody
it.
knows, everybody that's listening, there is no benefit to the city. They're gonna vote it today, but it's gonna go on the ballot. So it's up to you guys to think about it and make your choice.
Right, just for her job
There
security.
is no benefit
Just for her job security.
except for to secure the city attorney's job. It got no benefit to us.
Commissioner Bowden? Any questions?
Here's my concern. We just had somebody in the last commission meeting, the lobbyists, talk about, what helps us and actually what hurts us in terms of stability. If we just had a lobbyist in our last commission meeting talking about what helps and what hurts. If we wanted her fired, she can still be fired. It's not like that's a big deal. One of the things that I think is important is that let that be a process. That's the only real difference that we're talking about, a process.
Like all the process that we
So
go through.
it doesn't hurt, like Mr. Scott said. We do need the stability. We do need to show that. And this is why I made the motion that we actually approve this or support it. So I don't see what the issue is.
You guys keep talking
And
about
I-
stability. When he talked about stability, he meant stability inside, because we don't have a finance director, we went through city managers, we've gone through all this. Stability in staff, okay? Not stability in the city attorney.
Commissioner
No,
Gonzalez?
he talked about the turnover with our city managers.
The only
That was one of the
stability
first
I see here
things
is the
that he
job
mentioned with regard to stability.
And
All
it's
right.
only been the same one 2-3 times, so.
Right, the only stability I see here is the support for job security for the city attorney. That's the only stability I see here. Because in reality, ask them while we got our agendas, almost 5 o'clock to get our agendas.
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done.
Listen, do you
and-
know why we get our agenda late? Do you see
Every
this?
single time.
This,
She's gonna come up with an excuse like every single time.
This budget, I just got it.
Mr. Mayor,
tonight
Mr.
when I
Mayor,
sat here.
Mr. Mayor,
And you know when I got the agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Friday night.
if I may, because this is ridiculous. I didn't ask for this, but I'm not going to sit here and be attacked. I'm not responsible for you getting your agendas late. I said that in the last meeting. You can keep saying that until you are blue in the face, and you can keep telling that until you're blue in the face. It's just not true. I am not responsible for that. Okay, so please stop saying that. It's not true.
Commissioner, let me say this, and let me say this, and we're gonna vote. This was a recommendation.
Mr. Lucas, who's responsible responsible for
Now,
us getting
I'm
the
talking,
agenda.
I'm talking at this
I
time,
am.
Commissioner Perez.
You are,
Mr.
That's not the topic of discussion.
Gonzalez, Perez, y'all out of order. I allowed y'all to make your comments and ask your questions. I'm making a statement at this point. I'm gonna say this. Was a recommendation of the committee. Every 5 years, we have a charter review. They put this out on the floor and they voted on it. And I believe the vote at that time, somebody may have changed their mind, but was unanimous at that time. This now going to the commission to vote.
no one was able to
If
give
the
me an
commission
answer. Why
approve
did
it-
benefit the city?
If the
Nobody knew why.
You interrupt and then you continue to do that. If the commission vote in favor of it, it then go to the public for a vote. The public would ultimately decide whether this charter revision would be approved or not. And we need to live with that.
But
That's a simple democratic process.
The public is listening, and the public is hearing the discussion.
At this
That's what we're
time,
here for, to let them know.
are you ready for a vote? City clerk, roll call, ma'am.
Commissioner Bowden,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin.
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
No.
Commissioner Perez,
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed by a majority 3-2 vote. Now we'll move to ordinance 2023-02, City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, submitting to referendum an amendment to the city charter, amending section 4.02 entitled Qualifying to establish a requirement that all candidates for mayor and city commissioners shall reside within the city limits of the City of Pahokee for at least 1 year prior to qualifying, establishing requirements for the presentation of certain official documents as proof of residency, establishing requirements for reasonable training standards prior to the qualifying, providing for adoption of representations, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in code, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation of this ordinance?
Under Exhibit A, page 23 of the agenda, adding section 4.02, qualifying candidates for the city commission shall qualify by filing a written notice of candidacy with the city clerk at such time and in such manner as may be prescribed by ordinance. To be eligible to hold the office of mayor and city commissioner of the city of Pahokee or be qualified for nomination or election as such, the candidate shall have reside in the city limits of the city of Pahokee for a minimum of 1 year immediately preceding the date of qualifying and shall continuously reside in the city of Pahokee. Shall present certain official documents as proof of residency to include, at a minimum, a Florida driver's license or a Florida identification card, any utility bill showing the address of residence, and a voter's registration card. The same addresses shall be shown on all three official documents to serve as verification of proof of residency. Candidates for nomination or election shall comply with reasonable training standards prior to qualification as established by city ordinance.
Thank you, City Manager. At this time, I'm going to open a public hearing for ordinance 2023-02 to allow the public who so choose to speak on this ordinance. Are there anyone in the public wish to speak?
Carl Morrison, Senior, 2587 Southwest 14th Terrace. I understand it's for the length of time as for being a resident or whatever. My understanding, if someone can explain, as for the reasonable training standards prior to qualifying. Can someone explain that?
Yeah. For the city charter.
Training,
Where is
the
it in
training.
city charter?
Why they put the training?
And how can you verify? That goes back to poll tax and that thing.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah. Through the mayor, the idea from the committee, and there are some committee members here, but they wanted there to be some type of training that people had about the charter, city ordinances, ethics maybe. It could even be, and it will be established by ordinance, so it could be, in that issue, that ordinance would have to come back before the commission and be approved. So the idea is that the ordinance might be the same kind of training that you all have to go through every year. You have to, you're required by Florida statutes to have 4 hours of training. You could require that as the training.
You're making an assumption. I'm speaking what's the facts, even to the point they training take place after the fact.
Yeah. No, this would be before the qualifying.
I understand what they're saying. But I'm saying they training take place after the fact,
right,
after
but
they're elected. So
right,
why?
Right. So my point is, the commission would have to decide what that training looks like, but it could be a 2-hour training. It could be I think what the committee was talking about was like a half day, but it could be any kind of training that would be reasonable, and talk about and you would have a public hearing, and you would have to come back and.
I understand all that. You're speaking in general. I'm speaking as full of the facts.
Yeah.
You didn't state now.
Right, I'm only telling you what the committee was talking about. But what you all may want to do, just to address his point, is if you wanted to set forth the type of training, you could actually do that right now. And we could, if there was certain kind of training, or you could take training out, whatever you all decided to do. But to answer your question, I think and some of the members are here, but what they talked about was to have some type of training that people would have to go through. Yeah.
Does not mean anything.
Yeah. Well, that's.
Okay.
Well, I think the main thing with that was that date, it was based upon, and it wasn't a specific person, because I wouldn't think nowhere like that, but it was like, we don't want anybody to just come in and don't know nothing about Pahokee. And can run for commission, you just move here today and say,
No. You got something as far as specifying for the time frame. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But this training.
I missed that. I missed that.
That need to be addressed. I'm just letting them know.
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay.
And I do have a question. When we talk about residing within the city limits, are we talking about a primary residence?
I'm sorry?
When we talk about residing within the city limits, are we talking about their primary residence has to be within city limits?
Yes, that was their residence, their primary residence, where they say they live, would have to be within the city limits. Yes, sir.
I have a question. It says right here that you have to show any utility bill showing that address a residency for that particular person. There's people out here who probably want to run, their spouse probably pays the water bill, light bill, phone bill, or anything, they ain't not even on the bill.
We talked about that at the last commission meeting. It's not so much the person name on the bill, it's just the address associated with that bill, and they would still qualify under that guideline. I want to go back to the training part, though. I believe, and most likely the intent was, again, to not have a person come on board without any knowledge of the city of Pahokee or any type of understanding of the ethics involved in it and the regulations. Just some basic things that they're knowing what they're, I hate to use this word, getting into or being involved with. So we can either have like the city attorney do a 2-hour training prior to each election to give those who are interested or thinking about running an overview of our city, the way it's operated, the city manager, commission form of government, and some basic information, and they were certified as being at least trained in that aspect. Other than that, you can just remove it out completely, but I think the intent from this committee was that a new person would have some basic training.
I can agree with that as far as, because if you ask some of the residents now, they don't know what form of government this is. Some say, you know, they look at it, but they don't know the form of government. Yes, what is the form of government that you're under? They couldn't tell you. And then some don't know, you know, like you said, just the ideal of the charter, ideal of ordinance, what's the difference? It's just how, the basic of how, of what you know, because you learn as you get in your, as it goes. But just the little basics of that, I think that's a good idea. I was talking to one city when we was in Washington. I know that's what they do also prior to their election.
And I'm going to try to follow parliamentary procedure. What we need to do is close the public hearing. If no other comments need to be made, and then we can go into that discussion prior to that.
Listen, let me make myself clear.
Can you please speak up to the mic? The mic.
Let me make myself clear. As I stated, putting that in there is just like a poll tax, okay? Now, you don't know the mechanics of a vehicle, but you know how to drive. So that statement you made is irrelevant to me, all right? Let's deal with some facts here. You're putting things there that should not be. If a person lives in this city a certain amount of time and they are registered voters, that means they're qualified. And you don't put any other loops out there for them to go through. It's just that simple. Whether you agree with me or disagree, I'm speaking facts.
We have your point, and we appreciate that. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak on this ordinance? Hearing none, I close the public hearing for ordinance 2023-02. And City Commission, having had ordinance 2023-02 read into the minutes by our city attorney, properly explained by our city manager, properly had a public hearing. What is your pleasure on this particular ordinance?
I like to strike that part out, that training part. None of us had prior training. You become a commissioner, you could get the charter, you could read the charter, you could get familiar with it. I mean, you learn as you go. You go to the Florida Legal Cities, they have courses online, the NLC. You know, there's ways that you could get, you go to ethics, you go to your sunshine.
Before we get to that, let's entertain a motion in a second to see if it passes the second, and then we'll go into questions, and that would be a time to do that.
If it passes without taking that out?
No, the part of the discussion would be removing it. Then we would have to vote. If the majority feel it should be removed, then that part would be taken out. And then we'll move to whether or not it's like an amendment to the ordinance, and then we'll move on to voting for the ordinance as amended.
So what's amended first before you take the vote first on this?
Okay, what we're doing now is taking a motion, and that's the desire of the commission, taking a second, and then we're gonna open it up for questions. You can actually amend it or request an amendment to it and move that forward if you get a second to that. And you're gonna actually amend the motion to say, we wanna strike that from the ordinance. They're gonna be moved forward. I first need a motion at this point.
I make a motion to accept 2023-02.
So you need to second it in order to vote it down or up. Okay, second. This just for this at first,
Yes,
then if you
ma'am.
want to amend it, okay.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly second by Vice Mayor Mervin for the movement of ordinance 2023-02. Now I'm gonna call for question at this time.
That motion.
Commissioner Perez.
Yeah, I want to amend it. I want to take the part of the training out.
We need a second on that.
Second. Oh,
Second.
Who
You
second?
got 3 seconds, so
I
Priscilla
don't know
wants to-
first. He's closer than me. I think I heard him first. It has been, this motion, this ordinance has been amendment, a request for amendment by Commissioner Perez and properly second by Commissioner Bolden to strike the training requirement out of this ordinance. Call for questions on that.
No question about that. I will say this though, even after, whoever wins an election, I don't know if they already do this. I know they talk about all these other aspects of the job, but I think we also, if possible, at some point, there needs to be some type of training with regard to EQ or the emotional intelligence guy. We're part of a job where people are going to say things, people are going to do things. You're going to have conflicts and things like that. We need to be able to manage our emotions and still move the business of Pahokee forward. I think that would definitely be something suitable, and I think it's needed. I know at any given time, any of us can be emotional, but we also have a responsibility to maintain a certain level of decorum and professionalism when we're representing the city of Pahokee with so many people who can impact our city watching. So I just wanted to say that it's something that can possibly be after a person is elected. I think that's very important.
Yeah. And my question too would be, a consideration for an additional amendment would be, and we may already have it in our ordinance, I'm not quite sure, that the elector who's being properly elected must also maintain residency within the city, and a lot of cities does that. A lot of them. That means if you're elected and you decide that you're going to move to West Palm or Miami, you can't continue to represent the city as a commissioner or mayor. And I'm not sure if that's not in there.
Mr. Mayor, yes, it is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any additional questions? And this is a motion, an amendment to the ordinance to strike out training. And it's been a suggestion by Commissioner Bolden that at some point we really need to have for our newly elected commissioners some training, some additional training once elected.
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to be clear that the continuously reside language is in this new amendment.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes,
Great.
okay.
I wasn't aware of that. Thank you. Okay, is there no other question? Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. The motion passed by a unanimous 4-5-0 vote. And next, we'll entertain ordinance 2023-03, City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, submitting to referendum an amendment to the city charter, amending section 5.02 entitled Oath of Officers Taking Office, to establish a requirement that newly elected officials be sworn into office at the beginning of the next properly noticed City Commission meeting, providing for adoption of representations, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in code, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation?
Yes, sir. It's in Exhibit A on page 30 of your agenda packet, section 5.02, Oath of Officers Taking Office. After election or appointment and before taking office, each commissioner or charter officer of the city shall take the oath of office as prescribed by ordinance. Newly elected officers, officials shall be sworn in, take office at the beginning of a properly noticed city commission meeting following official certification of election results by the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections.
Thank you, City Manager. At this time, I would open the public hearing for ordinance 2023-03. Anyone from the audience wish to speak on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. City Commission, having heard the ordinance properly read into the minutes, The records by our city attorney, properly explained by city manager. What is your pleasure?
Mayor Bab, I move to accept 2023-03.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly second by Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin for the movement of ordinance 2023-03. Call for question.
What is the state or the county, ordinance for that? Is that, once you certify, you could take the oath anytime after you're certified?
Is that a question for me?
If that's a question for the city attorney.
Yeah, there is no state law on that. The cities can choose by home rule however they want to operate. Some cities will have at the next commission meeting, the first available regularly scheduled commission meeting. That's not what you do. We went through a whole thing at the last meeting, and you may recall, this only deals with just being sworn in at the very beginning of the meeting, as opposed to the end, which I think you had a problem with previously. So there was a long discussion at the last meeting, and I think we came to the conclusion, and I think you understood that it's just allowing for whenever you're sworn in, after the certification of the election results, it will be the beginning of that meeting, and specifically, it would be at the beginning of a properly noticed city commission meeting following the official certification. So once, there's consensus about the date of the meeting and you're certified by the supervisor of elections office and you properly notice it and the public is aware, then at that meeting, no other business would take place. You would be sworn in first. So that's the only thing that this deals with, just being sworn in first.
Just to clarify, I had no problem with that. Problem that I had is that in the charter previously said that once you're certified, you could take oath anytime. Instead, which we did, and Chandra said that he didn't know what I was talking about. I have the recording on everything, which I'm sending to the state, okay? But we were sworn in, not at the end of the meeting, but after the meeting was adjourned, which is not even legal because it really wasn't a meeting because it was adjourned. So I'm pursuing that one. I haven't let go on that one.
You can do that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Some swearing ins are done without even a meeting taking place. It's just a swearing in. Some are done by the clerk without a meeting taking place. So yeah, you get certified right, but it doesn't say what you said it says, but I'll just stop.
It does say it.
No, it doesn't.
The charter does say
you
it
read
right
it.
now. Read it.
No, you read it. You read it in the last meeting. I read it. We did it before.
Read it here right now in front of everybody.
I'm not going to do it.
Why are you not reading it? Because what I'm saying is true.
No, it's not true.
Yes, it is true.
We're on the question portion. I have a question and a statement. Just for the record, and no disrespect, Commissioner Perez, sometimes you share false or misleading information, and I'm going to say particularly in my case, I voted, and I mentioned this in the last meeting, I voted in favor. I agree with this recommendation from the Charter Review to have this placed in there. I personally voted in favor of both you and Commissioner Gonzalez to be sworn in at the beginning of the meeting. Commissioner Bolden said the same thing that you're echoing. Tan Allen took the tape of that meeting.
Bolden wasn't even here when we
Bolden. I'm sorry, Bolden. Regina Bolden. And shared that on Facebook. I have it on my Facebook page, clearly stating when that came up that the mayor made a statement supporting the swearing in of both of y'all at the beginning of the meeting and showed me voting on it.
Yeah, and then the rest
And
of
I
them talked.
wish that if
And
you
then the
correct,
attorney talked, and then you went on with the meeting, and you forgot all about what you
we're talking about
said.
one point, whether or not I supported and voted in favor of you being sworn in. And if I didn't, I would resign from office as of today, if you can prove on tape. And if I can show you that tape, which is on Facebook, I wish you would do the same thing and resign your seat for putting false information out in the public.
I'm gonna look for the
Thank you.
video.
Hearing no additional question, well, you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
If I'm telling the truth, the city attorney can resign, and if not, I'll resign.
Oh, you want to another conversation?
Oh,
Yes.
okay, let's do it.
Yes.
See who's lying.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Perez?
What is it that we're voting on?
We're voting on the ordinance we just read, 2023-03,
To be
in reference to
sworn in.
swearing in at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commission. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to ordinance 2023-04, City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, repealing and replacing Article 2, Section 2-26, entitled City Commission Meetings Generally, and 2-29, entitled Order of Business, renumbering and reordering as necessary, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation of this ordinance?
Is it just the underlying parts?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams? Okay, so, Section 1, amending Section 226 of the City of Pahokee Code of Ordinance entitled City Commission Meeting Generally, which shall be replaced and shall read as follows: City Commission Meeting Generally. So is that A, the ground rules for decorum, is that
You want me to do it?
italicized?
Want me to do it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Commissioners, this is a second reading of ordinance 23-04, which is basically amending your rules of procedure. And what you're doing here is, if you look at the second page, items B4 and B5, this is to deal with decorum issues that you've been having issues with clearly in your last meetings. And the new language would allow for a commissioner that is, well, I'll just read it. Members of the City Commission are expected to ensure proper decorum during all meetings of the city. If after a warning from the mayor, a city commissioner is found to be disruptive in such manner whereby business cannot be conducted as determined by the mayor shall instruct law enforcement or other authorized personnel to remove a disruptive city commissioner from the commission chambers for that meeting. A decision made by the mayor may be overridden by a vote of any 4 members of the city commission. This includes the change that you incorporated from the last meeting. Paragraph 5, under that same section, it reads, if a member of the public, city staff, or charter officer of the city is found to be disruptive in such a manner whereby business cannot be conducted as determined by the mayor shall instruct law enforcement or other authorized personnel to remove said person from the commission chambers for that meeting. A decision made by the mayor may be overridden by a vote of any 4 members of the city commission. So that represents the changes that you made to that section. In addition, you also, all of you, and this was Commissioner Perez's recommendation, that was approved. You also made some changes to the Section 2 under Order of Business. Rather than starting, you all talked about combining both the commissioner comments and for the good of the order, Commissioner Perez wanted it to be clear that commissioner comments would be a part of O under that section, and that is, you will see the change there where it says commissioner comments and for the good of the order. So that was the primary change that was made to that section, and that concludes the changes.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Manager, just a brief explanation has been self-explanatory.
So, the amending of this to have clarity and to have better flow is what is in order here. So, that is the interpretation I get from it.
Thank you, City Manager. At this time, I would open the public hearing on Ordinance 2023-04. Do anyone from the public wish to address the City Commission in reference to this ordinance? Hearing none. I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Paul Morrison Senior. For clarification, when we have 4 commissioners, they can override anyone that's in that seat, correct?
Correct.
Good enough.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I will close Ordinance 2023-04. City Commission, having had Ordinance 2023-04, properly read into the minutes by our City Attorney, properly explained by City Manager. What is your pleasure in reference to this ordinance?
Mayor Bab, I move to accept 2023-04.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the movement of Ordinance 2023-04. Call for questions.
Question. I want to ask if you could strike out on B4 and B5 where it says any 4 votes, make that back to the original stance of 3 members on both of them.
Is there a second to that requested amendment? It has been properly moved and second.
I still don't understand why he can't rescind his vote from the last time. I wish somebody could explain it to me. Why can it happen sometimes and not others?
We got a motion and a second on the floor. We'll call for questions.
That's one of them.
That's dealing with the this particular ordinance. The question.
Yeah?
What was your question?
Why is he not allowed to rescind his vote on this particular ordinance from the last time, change his vote?
The city attorney explained that at least twice, but I don't think she would
I don't
be.
understand it, why he couldn't do it and why Marvin was able to do it. I want to know the difference. But what was the difference? Because they were both voted on, and then at the following meeting, she was able to change her vote.
City attorney, would you mind re-explaining that for the third?
I'm not exactly sure what she's talking about with Commissioner Mervin. I can just tell you that this issue is coming up tonight. He is actually tried to bring this up, and it was seconded, and he will be able to, and if it's voted upon, what he wanted to do in terms of changing the minutes, in terms of what happened, he can't change the minutes in terms of what actually happened. If it would be different if he voted it, if he was saying, you know what, I didn't vote that way, and but you can't go back in time and change the minutes on what actually happened. If the clerk found, if he found that the clerk had that he voted for something and he actually didn't, and she listened to the
Ms.
tape
Warner,
and found out, but that's not the case
Do you
here.
recall what I'm talking about? Do you recall
I know what you're talking
the time
about.
that she came back and changed her vote?
Yes,
Can you explain it?
that's not the minutes. She rescinded her vote on terminating the city manager without cause. What was it, without or with cause? I can't remember exactly what.
We have voted on the meeting before.
No, what
So
you're-
then she came the following meeting and changed it.
I know what you're confused about. It was a preliminary resolution that's provided for as a process in your charter. So the first time, it comes to you twice. And so when it came the first time, she voted one way, and when it came back, she could, yes.
She asked to change it.
No. That's what happened. But it's a part of the process. And just like tonight, if one of you voted no for 4 at the last meeting, and you came back tonight and you voted yes, then that's okay. That's okay. It was 2 different meetings. But in any event, I can only, tell you for purposes of tonight, right now there's a motion and a second on the floor, and you all can decide if you want to amend this item.
So we have adopted the home rule. The city of Pahokee has adopted the home rule.
I don't know what you mean by that. You're a part of what you're doing is about your home rule. This is all home rule. You're
Okay,
making.
so this city has adopted the home rule. The cities, there's municipalities that has adopted them and some have not.
Yeah, what you're
We
saying
have
doesn't make
adopted
any
it.
sense. I don't know what you mean by that. You've adopted home rule.
So you don't understand,
No.
you don't know.
No, I don't
Okay.
know what you're talking about.
Okay, so still, it doesn't matter what the municipality does, it cannot go against the state laws.
Yes, correct. It
Okay.
cannot go against state
That's all I
laws.
wanna know.
Right. Mhm.
That's all I wanna know, I got it on record.
Okay, great.
Hearing no additional
Vote whatever
question,
you
are
want.
you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
No.
Sarah?
Commissioner
We're
Bowe.
not voting on changing it.
Yes.
You're actually voting on,
No.
you're voting on amending it from 4 votes to 3 votes. Perez motion, you second.
She say,
she's
she say no at this point. I mean, are you
Yes.
a little confused or yes?
She don't
No,
know what she.
yes, I was confused.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
State
what-
the what was
Just to be
voted
clear,
on again.
The
motion-
motion was to amend this ordinance to reflect a majority of 3 versus a supermajority of 4.
Exactly.
Well, actually, Mr. Mayor, it would be taking it out. He didn't say anything about 3. He
Won't
just said
take it
take
out.
out
He
4.
did say 3. He said
did?
3. He said
Okay.
from 4 to 3.
Okay.
Okay. We're still in voting. Commissioner Gonzalez, who motioned, and Commissioner Perez, who second, both have voted in the favor of it being taken.
From 43.
From 43. From 43, right. So we'll continue with the roll call.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden,
No?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
No.
Mayor Bab.
No. Motion to amend the ordinance failed by a majority 3 to 2 vote. Now we're moving back to the regular ordinance, which consists of, that have already been placed into the record, and that we need a motion on.
Mayor, I make a motion that we would accept ordinance 2023-04.
I second.
It is moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Bolden for the movement of ordinance 2023-04. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowden,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
No.
Commissioner Perez,
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed by a majority 3 to 2 vote. Now, okay. Now we move to our resolution. The first resolution is Resolution 2023-08. City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, amending the signatories for various bank accounts of the City of Pahokee at PNC Bank N.A., recognizing Joseph Martin, Interim Finance Director, as an additional signatory, authorizing the city officials to execute all necessary documents to comport with this resolution and with PNC banking requirements, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation?
Yes, sir. On this resolution, we're authorizing signatures at the bank to be updated to include the mayor, city manager, city clerk, and interim finance director as primary signatories. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commission, having had Resolution 2023-08 properly read into the minutes by City Clerk, properly explained by City Manager, what is your pleasure?
Mayor, I move to accept Resolution 2023-08.
A second.
Absolutely.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2023-08. Call for questions.
I have a question. We've never had, it's always been the city manager and the city mayor. We added the city clerk. Why do we have to add the interim finance director as a signatory?
You had it the last time when Lynn was here. She was interim and she was on the bank account.
I don't remember that.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
Mayor, and not only that, he pays your bills. You know, this is your interim finance director.
Sign the checks.
Mayor, can I please finish my statement? And also, we had a commissioner name on the check, signing of the checks. He's the interim finance director. That's logic. You would have him with signing of the checks.
In additional questions?
The reason she was a vice mayor is because the mayor they were using his rubber stamp. That's why.
In additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perez?
No.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Motion passed by majority, 3-1 vote.
I can't even explain the thing that you put in his name on the bank.
Let the record reflect that Commissioner Gonzalez had to step out at this time. Now we'll move to Resolution 2023-09, City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, accepting change order number 1 related to an agreement between Momentum CEI, Inc. and the City of Pahokee for construction and engineering inspection services in conjunction with State of Florida Department of Transportation Contract G-1753, FM number 442030-01-54-1 for Barfield Highway Reconstruction Project, providing for the adoption of representations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation?
Yes, sir. This requested change order for additional compensation is due to the increased project occurrences such as construction and utility change orders that have required supplementary manpower staffing from Momentum CEI. Momentum original award bid contract was for $217,010.55. The increase of CEI manpower and staff will increase the contract amount to $461,932, which, as per the FDOT agreement between the City of Pahokee and FDOT Contract G-1753, F number 44203-0-01-54-1, funding for the CEI was originally included in the agreement for construction and construction engineering inspection services. Momentum CEI Inc. is entitled to 100% of the additional $249,921.45 to increase the total CEI contract to $466,932. The work performed for CEI services for Barfield Highway. FDOT has concurred with the funding of CEI services in change order number 1. Budget impact, $249,921.45 will be granted for this change order. Florida Department of Transportation has granted concurrency on the additional cost. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commission having had Resolution 2023-09 properly read into the record by City Attorney, properly explained by City Manager. What is your pleasure?
Have I moved to accept Resolution 2023-09?
A second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2023-09. Call for questions.
Yep.
Commissioner Perez.
Ms. Adam, can you come and explain why we need this amendment number 1, please? What is this for?
Yes, ma'am. So originally, Momentum CEI put their bid in at $217,010.55. Because of the additional change orders, construction, utilities, for them to be able to continue on throughout the project, or as far as the $466,000 will allow them to go. This is what that change order is for. If we
For
go back
doing
to
what? For doing what?
the oversight of the project. They oversee the project, making sure that every change order that comes towards or does not get to commission is validated. They speak with FDOT and Palm Beach County Water consistently. Palm Beach County Water does not pay for CEI services. It is only covered through FDOT. But they do the oversight, making sure that we're not overcharged, making sure that services are being rendered as set forth in the contract.
Do you have the contract for the CEI? Would you read the description of what they're supposed to do for the $217,000?
You want me to read the contract, or need to pull up the contract?
Yes, I want you to read that part.
All right.
What they're supposed to be doing for the $217,000.
This is one for this company, change order 1. Yeah, this is.
Read it inside the second or third paragraph.
Second or third paragraph of their contract, that they oversee CEI services. That we have.
Explains everything that they're supposed to be doing.
Wait a minute, I'll have to pull it up.
When it says we have FDOT concurrency, that just means that we have their approval.
We have their approval. FDOT
to go continuously with the work.
Yes, and FDOT's contract for the $3.9 million, it covers CEI and construction services. So they have already set aside money based on Momentum's contract that they submitted, because that contract also went to FDOT.
So FDOT already approved that they were gonna give them an additional $220-something thousand.
Yes, ma'am.
So they got the bid for $217,000.
And
they're already in, and now they're getting another $200,000.
Yes, FDOT at 12% contingency. They set aside those dollars. They set aside $466,000 because that is 12% of the cost for CEI services. So that money was already sitting in the pot. So when the bid came in, that bid went to FDOT. FDOT saw what that bid was for. So they know what services for mental work have been put in for.
Right. So somehow we gotta make sure that we use all the money.
Where's the attachment?
That we use all of the $466,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me say this too while we're on that conversation. This is a FDOT project. They're paying for it, and they approved the change order. The city, as an overseer, is recommending approval. There's a lot of layers, there's a lot of checks and balance in all of these change orders. I don't think they just blankly writing checks or want to spend the entire amount. It's just proper procedures indicate that the change order is warranted and they are paying for it. So I'm not sure why we're
Listen, FDOT gave us $4 million.
not directly to us.
Oh,
Okay.
it's allowed at
Okay.
$4 million, okay? We took it out for bid, they underbid it. But we could spend up to that $4 million, okay? So FDOT is not here, they don't know what we're doing. We're
Yes, they
here.
do.
We
They
know what's
approved
going
it.
on.
Yes, they do.
approved it.
They know what you're doing.
They don't want to approve the change order. They know,
Yeah.
they're aware of what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, whatever we send them, they're gonna approve it. You
No,
got this-
they approved it
You got
before
the
we-
engineer that agrees on it.
Or they just
No,
reject that one.
FDOT has project
Yeah,
managers.
Sarah is the one that's crazy and Sarah is the one that's wrong. It's
Commissioner, no,
okay, it's okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, no, FDOT is paying
You
it.
right on that. You right, no.
FDOT has a project manager.
I'm not, I don't know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about. It's good.
Listen to the double
Please
language
explain
here.
it.
I do.
Yeah,
FDOT has a project manager. They have, his name is Leos Kennedy.
what I'm saying,
The
it is
supervisor.
not fair to other bidders for you to accept a $217,000 bid, and once you have that bidder secured, to come back and give them another amount higher than the one they bid it for.
So
That is unethical and that cannot be legal. But you guys are doing it.
Commissioner
So
Perez,
continue
That's not-
doing it, cause Sarah don't know what she's talking about.
we accept the lowest
Yes,
bid.
just
That bid
like you
came
did with
in
Real
at
Bad, just like you did
$217,000.
with, and yeah, you always have a contingency in case something shows up, the change in work orders.
I'm sorry,
How much
Miss-
did they estimate to do the project? How much did DOT estimate to do that project?
406 for the CEI services?
Put to do the project.
For
This is
the
the project.
$4 million,
How much-
$4
how much did they
million,
estimate?
$4.3 million.
No, it was
Or
$4.9 million.
Yeah.
And how much did they?
And for 4 point,
And how much did the contractor bid?
contractor for construction put in their bid at $3.98 million.
So what you?
And the
No.
first engineer
So
got
no.
$475,000.
Of
The
the
second engineer got
$4.5 million.
$217,000. So
We-
now he's putting an amendment because of all these changing work orders, 18 of them, you know, he's had to do all his other work. So now he's billing for another 200 and some thousand
Don't
dollars.
get up to that $4.5 million.
In-
Exactly, exactly.
Any additional
Exactly.
question from the commission?
That's exactly how it works. I'm
Hearing no
glad you
additional question,
understand.
we're gonna move forward with the roll call. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bowden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Murphy?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner Perez?
Nope.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Motion passed by majority, 3-2 vote. Now we move to the next resolution, which is Resolution 2023-010.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the city manager to secure a fireworks vendor for the City of Pahokee's July 4th Independence Day celebration on an emergency basis and for an amount not to exceed $30,500, providing for adoption of representations, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. City Manager, could you give us a brief explanation of that resolution?
Yes, this request is for additional funding of $5,500 for the upcoming City of Pahokee 4th of July fireworks. City staff originally budgeted $25,000 for 4th of July celebration. However, after researching the cost of fireworks and planning for the 2023 4th of July on the marina, staff has discovered that due to the increase of supply and demand costs that have affected the entire nation, the allocated amount of $25,000 will not cover the cost of fireworks. Staff is requesting an approval of not to exceed of $30,500 for cost of fireworks. Staff has contacted several companies and have discovered many of the pyrotechnic companies are sold out for the 2023 4th of July celebration. We have identified 2 companies that may be able to serve the city for the 23 4th of July celebration. Anticipated cost is about $30,000 for a 20 to 22 minute fireworks show. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commission, having heard Resolution 2023-10, properly read into the records by our City Attorney, properly explained by City Manager, what is your pleasure?
Anybody want to move to accept Resolution 2023-10?
It has been moved by Commissioner Boland and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2023-10. Call for questions.
What was some of the cost of the other companies? You have those? Like, what was their
Mayor, Commission, so we're doing research and discovering that the costs have ranged from City of West Palm Beach, their cost of $75,000 for a 20-minute show. Town of Lake Park was $45,000. The 3 companies that I contacted that have served us in the past, they are sold out. So the company that Explosive Tech, who did our fireworks, I believe last year, their costs are about $30,000 for a 20 to 22 minute show. And I have a phone call tomorrow with another company that I'm hoping that their costs will be a little bit lower.
Does Bellblade have fireworks?
I believe Bellblade has fireworks, but I don't know who their company is yet. But I have contacted 4 companies.
I'm wondering,
You
could,
didn't call Bellblade and find out who it was?
I did not call the City of Bellblade. I just called the different firework companies, from Zambelli to Pyrotechnico, to Explosive Fireworks, Pyrotechnic Company.
I mean, we always copy, well, Bellblade did this and South Bay did that, and this time we got fireworks and we didn't think of calling Bellblade and see who they use.
Well, in the past, I've never contacted Bellblade. I just called the fireworks company directly to find out what their prices were.
the company that currently possibly would be able to provide fireworks, are there a possibility that what fireworks can be scaled down, maybe 5 minutes, so that it doesn't go over the $25,000 cost?
5-minute fireworks show?
5 minutes, so if it's 20 minutes, it'd be 15.
So originally, I did ask them they upped it to 20 to 22 minutes to cover the 30-minute, because the original cost that they quoted me was $30,000 for a 15 to 18-minute show. And I asked them, because we've been working with you for the past 2 years, is it any way we can get up to at least 22 minutes for that cost? But they quoted us originally 15 to 18-minute show would have been $30,000.
Okay. Personally, I support it, but I'm really hesitant to pay that type of money for fireworks. I mean, even if we have to start doing it every other year, it's a nice attraction for our community, but an unbudgeted cost, that amount is I'm just a little hesitant.
Because that $25,000 that we budgeted was for 4th of July as a whole. So the cost is a lot.
I'm questioning whether it's worth it, but that's my opinion, but I'm just hesitant.
So you just not to have any fireworks?
No, I say I support it, but I got a hesitation in my support of it because of the cost. We'll you know.
We blow the money everywhere else, might as well spend some on the.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. That's just my. Do I get to have a thought in the process? That's just my thought. I'm not asking you all to tie your hands and jump off a ledge with me. I'm just saying I just have a little hesitant, but I do support it. That's all.
So at this point, have we run relationships where people used to donate $5,000 and $10,000 to help out with this?
I don't know if we even seeked donations this
We're
year.
still going after sponsorship, and normally in the past, we've gotten funding from H.E. Hill Foundation, which helps to offset the cost, and so we still go after those funds. We're going after
we received any at this
As of right now, we have not, but the sponsorship letters have gone out.
You and Sugar used to help without money? You and Sugar?
Yes.
Not only that, even Florida Christian, they have personally told me, say, Mayor, your city really don't ask enough. The other two do, but I'm just putting that in your ear, so we need to really make sure we ask.
But just wanted to bring forth the cost because we do need approval.
So if this was to get approved tonight, and if you get sponsorship, it can go down what the city kicks in, because you will have other monies from sponsorship.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a
There's
vote?
somebody on the audience.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bowden?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Commissioner Perez?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we move to our last resolution, I believe, is Resolution 2023-11. I'm sorry, we do have another after that.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the use of American Rescue Plan Act funds of 2021 to establish a COVID-19 water assistance program and a rental assistance program for a total allocation amount of $225,000 for fiscal year 2022-2023, providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney, City Manager.
Yes, this is for assistance to residents in the amount of $225,000 to cover up to $1,500 per qualifying household. For water side, it's up to $500, and then it is up to $1,500 if you needed rental assistance.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commission having had Resolution 2023-11 properly read into the record by City Attorney, properly explained by City Manager. What is your pleasure?
Mayor, I move that we would accept resolution, what is the resolution?
2023-11.
2023-11 with a question, please.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Bowden that we move for the adoption of Resolution 2023-11. Call for questions.
One question, or maybe probably to the attorney or either to the city manager. With the, first one statement, as far as when they were talking about the Parker building of the displace of some of the residents. Want to make one correction that the commission did at one point go out there and walk those buildings. So we do know, we are aware of what some of the conditions of the building, not only the commission, even with the, at that time with the city, the county commissioner, and all, we have walked that building with code enforcement. But my question with the ARPA funding, with the displace of some of those residents, and I'm talking about the actual ones that were, because talking to the landlord, there are some squanders there that just there. But there are some there that actually is tenants. if we can use some of the ARPA fund for the rental assistance to help cover if they was to, say, go out and find a place and they need first, last, and security, that I know it's up to $1,500, if they can bring back a lease or so where they went to a place and they, try to get a lease at an apartment building, but they need the funding to help move in. Can we use the ARPA funding of the $1,500 for that to help out residents in that case?
Legally, yes, you could. You could do a part of it, or you could do, set aside some amount within the $225,000. You could authorize the city manager to, do some separate application if you wanted to do that. But I think you probably want to have some proof associated with it, that maybe they had actually been paying the rent for 60 days or whatever prior to, making the application. Something that will ensure that this was actually an active person that was paying rent and just came on hard times because of, being misplaced or displaced.
Exactly, and also since this have not rolled out yet for the general public, but I know it's an emergency basis for the tenants, that I know you have allocated, about 200,000, I think you have for that. If we could do an emergency just for those tenants, if they could bring the proof that they did for like last 30, 60 days, that they were tenants of that, Parker building, and now they're being displaced, that we can help them with finding, once they find where they're gonna be relocated, and the fund can go directly to the landlord, the new landlord, once they show that they will be moving into that building, first, last, and security, up to the $1,500.
So I guess my initial question, if I may ask Bernadette, the legal aspect of it came about from COVID-19 from March 1, 2020. So is it that we have to customize something? Are we allowed to do that and deviate from that guideline? And then if we're setting a separate pot, are we violating anything with the public moving forward on their side?
Yeah, so on an emergency basis, because right now the application allows for any assistance related to the pandemic, I guess, and I guess that kind of can encompass a whole lot of things, but you right now your program is to have eligibility. Once it's determined to be eligible, paid directly to the landlord. So your question of, paying directly to the landlord, you can do that. What we can do, if you all authorize this, we will make sure that we ensure it's done legally. So if it's something you wanted to do, whether you want to set aside so much money of this, maybe you said 25,000 of the 225,000. I mean, you all just need to have a discussion about it. And if you authorize us to, within that, under legal parameters, we'll make sure it's done legally. So I believe the fact that it's done under the ARPA funding, I mean, it's just so vast. So it allows for so much. I think we can write it in a way that it will capture the legality of it, but we first need to get an idea of where you're headed, and then we can make sure that
Well, let me ask you this, because they're not being evicted because of the pandemic, or because they lost income due to the pandemic. They're being evicted because the building is being condemned. So how does that fit in the ARPA money?
It could be, the program is written so that it assists not only landlords, but it also is written so that it assists renters. I mean, it says that even in the program. So for people who are landlords who maybe not enough tenants right now because of ARPA, it could actually you could actually see it from the standpoint of wherever they're going. Under, under occupancy, you're helping a landlord. So the landlord, wherever they're going. So I think, what I'm saying is, I think we can make it so that it will fit within the legal parameters. I'm not concerned about that. We just have to make sure that you all, it's something that you want to do, and we'll make sure it's structured so that it's legal.
So for example, if, I'm sorry.
No, can I just say one thing? Can I help y'all out just a little bit? Because
Microphone.
what you're asking the city to do, Ms. Bowden, that you have permission, that's a no. Now, Wilson did it for us for years. When somebody gets displaced, Ms. Bowden with the county commissioner, she go out there and do that. She go place those people, not the city. Wilson do it for the county right now. So I'm saying, why are we just taking this aqua money and just finding a way to just give it away? And there's a lot of things in our city that need to be done with it. Paying people rent, that's duplicating services. Paying people water bill, that's duplicating services. The county do that every day. I did it for 36 years. That's my job. That's what I used to do. And so that's what I'm telling you right now. The job that Ms. Bowden got with the county commissioner, that's who goes out when you get displaced like that. She's supposed to go there and contact other people and get those people placed.
She should. You're right about that.
Not the city.
You're right about that. What she not doing.
Have you all
Ms.
contacted
Ms.
them?
Washington, how many resident was affected in that apartment? Was it 16, 24?
I have a listing right here.
Okay, he say 24. Now, this won't.
Of the 24, it's 20 families.
Right.
And then there are several squatters.
Okay.
Also, just keep in mind that if the funds are used for that, maybe there could be a caveat where the relocation would have to be within city limits. That way we keep the funds within the city.
Yeah. And it's still helping renters, so I would suggest we set maybe a amount, a cap. I mean, anybody can apply, but because of this is an emergency and they're gonna need some assistance with rental assistance, that we can maybe cap it at $25,000. That would be an average, at least $1,000 per renter for those emergencies.
Well, I
for the
think some of
relocation.
them on that list is kids with the parents too. I hadn't really just bowed down, but I saw kids in there.
Okay, because we're not taking any money away from the program itself. This is for rental assistance. It just happened that these group of individuals had an emergency where they need emergency placement now. And I agree the county should be pitching in. We have asked the county and some other agencies as well to make sure these people are placed in appropriate
They
housing.
did, we did.
But they come and get y'all about what y'all ain't doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, and the thing is, and I agree totally what you say, even with pretty much all of the opera funding, to me, should have been used, I think, on the infrastructure of the city of Pahokee. But as you say, you hear the cry from the community that we're not doing nothing for the citizens of the, so you try to, so when I don't, if you do one, you get blamed for not helping, you do the other one, you don't. You heard tonight that the city commission not doing anything to help the residents of the Parker building, and this been not just now. This been like almost like a 2-year thing. But I agree. I think we should have took the whole 3.1 whatever million, did roads, streets, sidewalks. I think
The city is not responsible for placing those people. The landlord is.
We realize
The
that.
landlord.
Yes.
Okay then.
That don't mean we can't pitch in and make sure, because really,
That's right.
the landlords
but
don't.
First of all, you cannot put the people on the street in 4 days. You gotta give them time, and in that time, they could go to rural services and get an attorney to get on that landlord and dish out the two, because on top of giving them the $2,000, they have to give them any security deposit that they have and any prepaid rent.
Commissioner Perez,
You know?
Rural Services has been made aware of it. We did contact them. Also, that is one of the organizations that's listed on the resource list that we compiled for them. In addition, the city did stress to the residents that it is incumbent upon the property owner to find placement. However, the city understands the severity of their situation, so that's why we were trying to compile all of our resources to see how we can best help.
But you gotta give them time. You cannot give them 3
Well,
days.
So to your point, it's a life, health, and safety issue.
It's been like that
So-
for I don't know how long.
Yes,
I
but-
mentioned it last time.
I understand
And
that,
they said, but the people don't have anywhere to go.
But we-
It's a health issue with the conditions that we're living.
we also want to consider what happened in, I believe it was Surfside, where the building imploded. We really want to take careful consideration when we're talking about life, health, and safety issues. So
Yeah,
that's the only reason why this has to be expedited.
Sometimes you don't have much choice to get them out. I kind of agree with you that I like to see enough time
Yes.
for that transition, but sometimes
It's
the
necessary.
safety
It's terrible in there,
hazard
Mayor.
is so bad that you can't keep them there.
Mayor, may I
It's full.
may I ask a question, legal question to Norris Weeks? What's wrong? Well, if whatever money we expend, can we go and sue the landlord, the owner of the
Take
building
the
for
building.
dollars we spend out in providing for the tenants?
We would, I don't think that's provided for in your code of ordinances. But Mayor, just to kind of get things back on track in terms of what you all would want to do on the issue of putting aside any money or, you know, or keeping the legislation as it is right now. If we could kind of move out of
Yeah,
the
okay.
discussion of.
I would move and recommend really that we at least put aside 25,000 of the 225,000 for those special emergency need in relocating assistant with rental.
Are we going to be requiring them to relocate within the city of
I agree
Pahokee?
with that also.
Say they want to stay,
They don't know.
do-
We understand that when they build more housing, maybe they could move back.
We the amendment to this resolution to set aside up to 25,000 for the emergency housing rental assistance for those who were just been displaced.
25,000 to give each person.
Up to I thought 1,000. That's why we got 24 residents. So I'm saying up to 20.
They would have to provide proof that they've secured a place to rent from, and then the landlord, normally what happens is that the landlord provides them with a letter or,
This may be something we need to revisit at another, once, we can see how it works.
What's 30,000 divided into
Put that on the application as well. People are aware that this is not confidential in terms of the money, you just want to maybe raise the amount to make it something that might be more, usable, I guess. And I don't know what